What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing today on this lovely Sunday? Sorry I'm late. I have no excuse. Today, I think we're going to have Oscar on from Elite Sanctuaries. He's going to have good audio. I will apologize about the last live. The CPA did not have the greatest microphone. It was hard to hear. We'll have to do a test with people before we have them come on, because there was a lot of good information in there. I can hear because I have really good headphones on, but you guys, if you're listening on a device or a phone, probably had a lot of trouble. So that's very unfortunate. So sorry about that. We'll try to do like a redo on some of that information. What's going on? We got some people in here. Appreciate YTAM. Hi, Ryan. What's going on? 2012. Were you born 2012? Belilio. Hello. What's going on? Master F Jamma from ATL. What's going on? ATL in the house. So, if you guys are new here, my name is Ryan Fagan. I am a real estate broker with over 13 years of real estate experience in a whole bunch of different fields. I'm owning RD Real Estate or RD Real Estate in South Jersey here. We're a small real estate brokerage, been operating for the last 3 years. And then now we have Almasi Realty, which helps people buy and sell real estate in Kenya, mostly focused on off-plan in Nairobi. I have a bachelor's degree in business administration with a focus in real estate. I've worked in property preservation. I've been a licensed mortgage loan officer. I've been in real estate analysis. Basically, my whole life has been in and around real estate. I've done flips. I've done burr properties, rentals. We also do property management. And for the last, 3 years now, I've been getting involved in the Kenyan real estate market. Um, First as an observer, and now we're providing a service with Almasi Realty. You can check us out, almasirealty.com. I'll drop a comment. And yeah, we're gonna have a nice Sunday. We're gonna talk about the market. Hopefully, Oscar can come on and chat. He's sending me. He's having connection problems. It's always hard to do this kind of stuff with guests because sometimes there are issues with the technology. Maybe the power goes out. Maybe the internet's an issue. But we're gonna talk about generally the market. My perspective. We'll talk about the oversupply. We'll talk about um, kind of what I've gathered from now being very active in the market, dealing with developers, doing sales with the developers. The general business climate has been interesting and tricky for sure. And a couple current events that we have going on. So we have a lot to talk about. As always, I try to read everyone's comments. Members' comments get priority, of course. So shout out to all the members. Oh man, I didn't even start my soundboard. Oh, I'm struggling today. I don't know. Can you hear my voice? I'm a little nasally. Oh, um, there we go. Let's bring up the soundboard. Uh, There we go. Hopefully you guys are hearing that. Let me, I think you are. Okay. Um, I've been following you for some time now. You're doing a great job. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm trying to do a good job. And I'll talk about that a little bit with Almasi and like how that's been going. So I'll save that for later. So it'll be an interesting conversation. But I appreciate that. I think I've been trying to do good work, make it a little bit easier for people that are wanting to buy. I'm not really into convincing people. I've actually, sometimes I tell people, maybe this is not for you. There's a lot of dreaming, there's a lot of idealism in returning and all that kind of stuff to Kenya, even the diaspora. I think, you get used to certain systems and then coming back, you need to be prepared for the environment. For sure. So we never really try to, you know, we really don't sell. Really, the goal is to advise. Dr. Deco, what's going on? How are you? Diva, good to have you on. Thank you. Thank you. Please talk more about the oversupply. I have a solution for these arguments. I don't know if we're ready to unveil a solution I've been working on. I'm very excited. So, I've been working a lot here in the US. I've actually been working a lot on back end systems, service delivery, a lot in data analysis because it's such a huge problem. The only reports we get really are from Frank Knight and Haas Consult. And like you read the Haas report and it says real estate is down in Nairobi. But then when you look deep into like what they're using their own projects as the sample. Oh, that sounds kind of weird. I don't think that's a good way to do data analysis, and there's not going to be a perfect way to do it, but um, I think we could do better. And so we've already started that. We need some more time because we're collecting data over time, but it will be presented in, I hope, a good way. We're using a lot of technology. I don't know what's going on. What's up with Kenya and people having two cell phones at their desk, a computer, and they have fast internet, but they're writing things on pieces of paper and not using any systems. I don't understand it. You go to the developer's office, and their only availability sheet is the physical one on the wall. Why? So then you have someone that wants to buy a unit. They have to do a WhatsApp group message to figure out if someone else has booked it. They got to go through the group email to see if someone booked it. Um, could take a day. Someone wants to book something. They're waiting. Why? There's computers, guys. Like, use a computer. But we'll talk more about this, about like how business works and what I've been seeing with Almasi and really working with a liaison between the clients and developers is very interesting. Oscar was saying that real estate in Kenya is very exhausting, which I would say it's exciting, but I could see why someone would say it's exhausting. Hi, Ryan, Canadian here. Can FKC Legal help me if what I'm looking for in Kenya is a few acres to buy, lease, and run a livestock farm? Or do you guys just focus on real estate? I don't think that's in their main wheelhouse. I'm sure they'll tell you that they can help. I'm sure they can do some helping, but I, I I don't really have a good recommendation for this. I think I don't have any sources that I can say go here for sure. So, and what do I say? Be careful. Um, it's a lot going on with that. There's a reason why we focus on the apartments and not land. And look, because I have all these ideas about this kind of thing as well. But again, there's reasons why we start with the more accessible regions. So be careful. It's very, very hazardous. We actually have a collaboration coming out with a company that can help with some of this stuff as far as transparency of the information and the process. But again, I'm still working on that. So I don't have a good solution. FKC can help. They can definitely set up your structures. As far as finding the land and all that, that's something like you got to really get on the ground and meet people and ask different lawyers and visit different regions and get out the car, talk to people, figure out what's going on, avoid getting scammed because probably most of the people out there will tell you anything and they're trying to dig in your pockets and will scam you. So, um, what I'm realizing is that people, there's a combination of idealism and there's this trust in systems where people don't use good discernment about things. Um, like, don't give people money until you get the thing that you're supposed to get. Seems like a simple concept, but people are thinking, oh, well, if they sign a contract, they have to do it. No, they don't. It's a contract's a piece of paper, right? Even here in the States, people can break contracts every day. There's now in the States, there's much more enforcement. You could sue, you could do stuff, but there's no invisible barriers or protections that you actually have in life. And when you go to Kenya or developing countries, uh, you have to protect yourself physically and in business and your money and all that kind of stuff. And so strip away this idea that someone or some other entity is going to look out for you. That's probably my biggest advice. And I find that for me, I don't know why. Maybe, I don't know. I did 15 months in Iraq. I've traveled, I've been around. I've like in Iraq, like, I don't know how to explain it, but there's no rules. You gotta, like, you are on your own. I mean, you're with your team or whatever in the military, right? But anything can happen. People walk around in the West, like, here's a good example. People walking around on their cell phone, walking on a sidewalk. You can expect that there won't be any problems with the sidewalk, so you won't fall. Well, you go to Kenya, you walk in and text it on your phone, you might fall in a hole. And people have trouble just walking on the sidewalk or crossing the street because they don't know how to, like, use normal humanity. I don't know. Like, hey, don't get hit by the car. Like, I don't, it's a little hard to describe. I don't really have the words for it, but um, no one's going to help you. Like, don't fall in a hole. Don't fall off a balcony. Like, people fall off like, you could fall off the balcony here. If you trip on the sidewalk, the first thing someone thinks is, I'm suing. And I think allegedly you can in Kenya, but uh, if you fall in a hole and twist your ankle, you done fell in a hole and twisted your ankle. No one's going to save you. And so that attitude applies to business. That's when any transaction you're doing, uh, be careful. Use common sense. If they ask for a big deposit, say no. I mean, that's part of real estate, right? Like, when if I'm flipping a house, I have to negotiate with contractors. You learn very quickly to not let the um, money get ahead of the construction. So if they finish half the house, I better have only paid half the money, or I'm behind and I could lose money. Because if they stop and I paid for half the house, at least I'm not losing. Really, I'm not really losing money, although you are, because then someone else doesn't want to come in and finish the work. But if I pay 80% of the cost of doing the house and they only do 20% of the work and then they disappear, uh, yes, you could sue them and do all that stuff. But guess what? You done lost money. And that's magnified in Kenya. So I really get worried about people's mentality. I get a lot of calls with clients, and we do our best. We want the best purchase contracts. We want to do the most due diligence. But I don't think these pieces of paper are going to save you. That doesn't mean don't negotiate a good contract, But that does mean that there's risk. And just because a piece of paper says something doesn't mean that you're absolved of any issues or risks or problems. And really, that's not just a Kenya thing. I tell clients in the US, um, that's what the contract says, but okay, you have to execute on the contract if they, because Trump does that, right? Like he'll just not pay contractors, and then they have to sue to get paid and everything. And maybe you don't have the resources to sue. Maybe there's a lot of things that can happen, and I think there's a lot of naiveness to people in general. And then on top of that, a lot of this is people's first time doing something. Like, are you a professional farmer? So there's a million things that you don't know about farming, and you're in an environment where people want to take advantage and you don't know is a really bad recipe to get really beat up. And you're seeing people come with a lot of idealism, and then now 2-3 years later they're making videos like why I left Kenya. But some of that is just like no one should scam you, right? But you're going, like, you should know that you're going to a place where people will look at you as an opportunity. They do. And so if you fall to becoming an opportunity, I mean, it's not your fault because people shouldn't scam you, but as an individual, you got to take accountability. You got scammed. Like I got beat for probably $100,000 US. Now that was potential like earning. It wasn't my money that I lost. But like dealing and trying to work in good faith with people has definitely damaged me on the business side. But see, I look at it as my strategy was wrong, and yes, there's a lack of parity in a way where if they can get over and they can get a couple of your dollars and not give you anything in return, they will do that. That's the reality of the situation. Where's Oscar at? Are you here? Let me send him a message. So I, so maybe I just haven't been in the market long enough to really get like gut punchingly scammed or beat or taken advantage of, or operating in a way that uh, has protected me from some of those things. Although again, like I'm saying, I've probably missed out on at least definitely $100,000 US, maybe two, for real, from some of the people that I was putting on the channel from earlier on. You know, freedom. There's no oversupply. There's actually undersupply. Nairobi is down millions of units from the city's requirements. Well, we're going to talk about it. I need to talk to you one day offline. Retired military from Baltimore. I also filled out a consultation form. Your Nairobi real estate company, Almasi. Oh, okay. Do we have something coming up? So without like I've improved the systems quite a bit since when we first launched, because we were really technically we're still in pre-launch. Like I've only put it out on here. We haven't even really started marketing or anything because I'm building the system. So if we drop the ball on the console, I'm sorry. Now we don't drop the ball on that though. We've been very efficient about it. Thanks for the quick and honest response. Campaigning has started. Yeah, I'm a little worried about I'll be coming late September and then I'll be there for the winter, the US winter. So I'm going to be in country from November probably to May. It's a little bit of a funky time. A little worried about safety, to be honest, and disruptions. And then, yes, the market side with the elections, I know gets very disrupted. So it's going to be It'll be my first time experiencing that and seeing what happens in the market. I ask people, what's the general trend as far as you guys know? I deal with some of the, we'll call them like mutual funds in Kenya and the real estate market. And I'm curious, like, what happens with the markets during the election season? How bad do things slow down for that year? Yeah, I'm wondering. I know it has somewhat to do with the severity of the if there's destability and unstability. I don't know which word. Um, Destabilization could be a problem. Actually, that's on the agenda to talk about because I think that's one of the biggest market factors about the oversupply thing because that issue can make oversupply become a reality. Freedom, could you expand on the stalling? So true and pragmatic. That idealism is caused by the people overselling Kenya in general on YouTube, especially African Americans. I respect you because you're honest about it. Yeah, I appreciate that. You know what's funny about that? I actually don't really think it's oversold. I mean, that's the technicality. Like, did they talk about the downsides enough? You know, a natural aspect of culture shock, like because that's been studied and stuff. One of the big things about culture shock is a feeling of euphoria when you go somewhere new, and you think everything's great, and then actually there's a um, what the heck is it? The guillotine swings the other way, where then you miss all the things that you can't have and you can get depressed and then you eventually balance out. And when I watch some of these content creators, I see that swing. And maybe because being aware of this, I try to avoid it. Um, but there's certain areas where I've kind of cooled off on excitement about certain things about Kenya, I think, but it's not to the point where it's like bad. But there are trade-offs. At a rest stop on I-95, we'll just be listening while on the road. I would like to hear an update on Luminara. Is the showroom open? Question, Oscar. Are the elementary or high schools near Luminara? Ah, yes. Hopefully it comes on. Luminara. Oh my gosh. I think they're on like the seventh or eighth floor of the superstructure. I keep seeing the updates. They're sending me the videos all the time. Making good progress. And I didn't really notice this, but the the curve of the corners of the building, because the two bedrooms are on the front, looks very attractive. Like the exterior appearance, I think it's going to look quite cool. Maybe it'll stand out versus some of the other buildings, but we'll see. Emerald Springs is going to be hard to compete with. That thing is a beautiful structure on the outside for sure, with the lights and everything. Luminara is mostly glass, so when they start doing that, I think it's going to be quite interesting on how beautiful it looks. And they have all double pane glass as well, so that's a good thing. Um, what was the other part of the question? Oh, the schools. Yeah, Oscar's better to talk about that. Hopefully he's able to get on here. They did the Belgravia launch. That's something we want to talk about in a little bit. Oscar was there, so I was hoping he would give a little bit of a breakdown of that. Belgravia got all their building approvals now, and they're excavating. There's a big hole in the ground versus where all those buildings were when I did the video. Very cool. It's always exciting to see so much progress in Nairobi. Things happen so fast. Just an exciting place because I feel like nothing happens where I'm at because it's so hard and everything's so expensive. Like you need so many regulations. We can't find your camera. Okay. Sorry, I'm Oscar. Oscar's having technical difficulties. Watch international news media like CNN and BBC. They'll make it seem like Kenya is about to turn into Iraq or something. Forces foreign. So, to me, that's a key catalyst. If The international perspective on Kenya fundamentally changes due to these things, whether perceived or reality, could damage the market greatly. Because right now, a lot of people are rotating investments and coming to Kenya and discovering Kenya internationally. And if you start having the BBC showing fires and blockades and people getting shot and stuff, it's gonna be a problem because like the Dubai UAE market, I think is down because there's videos of missiles hitting apartment buildings. No amount of money is worth being in an area where missiles hit apartment buildings, in my opinion. And therefore, I don't care what the cost is, I'm not buying. So now, if 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 in your mind, as an investor or someone looking to relocate or whatever, or even the diaspora, if you're in your mind, there's riots and fires and shootings and killings and everything's devolving, uh, you're not going to buy or invest. And that will damage the thesis of the growth because the oversupply issue, I think, is only a, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. I'm not even in that segment yet, but the oversupply issue, I think, fundamentally is a non-issue as long as their growth continues. They're building into the growth, but if your growth stops growing and you're still building, then you're going to have too much stuff. But we're going to talk about a lot of different aspects of that. Not ready to unleash the information that we've been collecting, but yeah, working on that. One particular influencer who has no business experience oversold the entrepreneurial opportunity in Kenya, so a lot of people also with no business experience. So I don't know if O'Shea's on here, but I don't talk about a lot of the like influencer things, but if I go on the Kinganda thing, I think I'll talk about it because this platform's not really for that. I have a lot of thoughts about who's coming, what they're doing, because honestly, there is an unlimited entrepreneurial opportunity in Kenya. The issue is, uh, you need skills. You can't just cut. Like, I don't want to get into all my talking points because I've been holding on to them for a while, and we're gonna unleash them when the time is appropriate. But I'll just say, like, you need a skill. Like, I've been in real estate for 13 years, so yes, and I run a brokerage here. So for me, I'm kind of copying the things that work from the U.S. and adapting them to Kenya, and I've been finding it quite easy, to be honest. But I know what to do because I have experience doing it. If you come and want to start a wine business, but you never successfully had a wine business, your degree of difficulty is like exponentially more because not only do you not know how the wine business works, you're in a new environment. Now you have legal, licensing requirements, HR. So one of the challenges I have is how do you manage employees with a way different culture and a way different work culture? Like, what's acceptable? Like in the US, people get 2 weeks a year leave as a standard. What's the standard in Kenya? How do you call out from work? Like, there's so many micro things that you don't even think about that you're going to struggle with. And if you don't have the right people around too, that's going to be even worse. And then if you're asking the wrong people, because everybody's going to have advice for you, and just because they're Kenyan doesn't mean they know anything about whatever business you're talking about. Just like if you came to America and asked a guy off the street about real estate, whatever they don't know what they're talking about, don't listen to them. So it goes both ways about some of that stuff. Luminar is quite cool. It can be a silver lining for us locals. Personally, I'm planning to make purchase. Yeah, so anytime the market's down, especially if it's only a temporary down, is a good time to buy. Land is like anything is probably good time to buy because the people that are selling in the bad market are probably under duress or distress, and you could probably get a better deal. Like someone might have to sell some of their land and liquidate some of their less liquid assets to be able to pay for stuff because I'm hearing businesses close or they shut down, and so maybe people need money, and you can buy the property when it's cheaper if they're illiquid. Stacy, what's going on? Hello. Chew Fi, what's going on? Too many unsuccessful people coming from North America and Europe with no money, arriving with $2,000 to $5,000, then going broke in 3 months. Then we're leaving Kenyan video. I don't want to knock people because I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But you add on top the racial idealism that they're going to have coming to Kenya. There's a whole different racial. The US has a very unique perspective on race that is not shared by most of the world and definitely not in Africa. So I don't want to get too much into it, but in the US, black people just look at other black people as their group. That's not the same thing when you come to pretty much anywhere in Africa. And they're offended and frustrated by that. And I understand, but it's just that paradigm doesn't exist. Well, like when I was in France, I was talking to people, and the way that they would identify or see themselves and the whole race thing is radically different than in the US. And then add the fact that nobody from the United States, unless you're Native American, is from the US, unless you think that you're one of those Native Africans, but in North America or whatever. So that disappoints them. They think they're meeting their soul brothers, and their soul brothers don't feel the same way. And the lack of skills. And how are you going to make money? Entertainment in general is hard to make money. So if you're in that field, YouTube or whatever, and then it drives people to get more extreme for views because their livelihood literally depends on how many views they're getting, and so they're having to. And I really am talking in general. I'm not talking about anyone specifically. It's just like the landscape of how that works, just as from my observation. Even me, like I see my numbers fluctuate or whatever, but I'm not, I'm not paying my bills with YouTube. So, but imagine if I had to pay my bills with YouTube. Oh man, you gotta do a soft shoe dance on here or something. How are you going to keep your numbers up? And then the algorithm changes, and what used to work isn't working. That's a tough life. That's a good angle, Freedom. Mr. America, hi Ryan. People who think Kenya is overstated should visit Central Africa and report back. Well, yeah, but they're not really comparing it to Central Africa or West Africa. I think they're comparing it to where they come from. You're certainly. Oh, here you guys go. I'm not getting into that. Um, okay, so I've touched on a lot of the topics. Hopefully, Oscar can make it in because I would like his perspective on a lot of these things and not just have my own. But let's bring back up this because if you guys have been following me for a while, first of all, I'm on the land and zoning boards in my town. So I'm very, I don't even want to say like super experienced with it, but I, I consider these issues in a decision maker's point of view and understand like the inside of how some of this stuff works. And obviously, Kenya is much different, and Nairobi is a way bigger city than where I am. But when I would see these developments and then the bad roads and sidewalks and things, or just simple things like that, I'm like, why? And so I was talking to Oscar about this, and he was saying that you can't fix the sidewalk in front of your property because the county government will stop you. And I'm like, that doesn't make a lot of sense because all this money is coming in. That money should be used to develop the infrastructure. And so like when you have all this international investment, it needs to trickle down to benefit everybody in some kind of way. And I'm not saying overtax, which there's a lot of crazy taxes, but some of this stuff is pretty good. Um, but why is only the building being beautified and nothing around it being beautified? And so I believe the Raptor Road case, there was a lawsuit last year that mandated that the county had to update their zoning policy. And lo and behold, in July, they came out with this. Now, this is a news article about it. Abdi was supposed to come on, but he wanted some more time to prepare to talk about this because the whole policy you can read online. And I haven't gone through the whole thing. I was saving it for when we talked to Abdi about all this. But there's a couple cool things, and I had touched on it last week. But so there's a mandatory development fee. They're revising the zoning regulation, and they're proposing new environmental and planning requirements for all construction. Among the key proposals is the introduction of the mandatory development impact fee. So basically, a tax for if you want to develop something, which developers will be required to pay before receiving a building permit. Now, they're already paying taxes, so this is an additional one. But if this money actually finds its way to where it needs to go, which is a big question, of course, I think that's really good. A mandatory one-time development impact fee is applied at the building permit stage. Payment of the full DIF is a mandatory precondition for the issuance of building permit. Makes sense to me. All this foreign money coming in, you can tax them to enhance the infrastructure, because if I do build a big 800 unit apartment and it needs more water and sewer, they should be paying for that to expand those systems, right? The regular taxpayer should not be subsidizing that as like a tax, right? Like if I live down the street in my single house and now I have to pay more taxes to support this higher infrastructure, and these rich developers come in, I think the rich developer should have to pay the tax to upgrade that system because they're the reason why it needed to be upgraded in the first place, right? That makes sense. That sounds like good policy to me. I'm not a big fan of taxes, but that one makes good sense. This is all with the caveat, guys. I'm not naive to Nairobi politics and all that kind of stuff with everyone saying everything's corrupt and the money doesn't go where it's supposed to go. That's a conversation that, we can have, or y'all can have at some point. It's a little touchy for me as a foreign guest visitor type person. So I'm trying to keep it to like, is the policy smart? And then maybe what does the execution look like? All right. So they're saying the fee is intended to finance infrastructure development within the city through the proposed Nairobi Urban Infrastructure Reinvestment Fund. So that's supposed to go into this fund. Hopefully the fund actually does what it's supposed to do. And then this is like about the calculation, which made sense to me. And basically how big it is and what the use is and where it's located will affect the cost. They're also reducing the zones from 20 to 15. I think this is cool because like, for example, in the US, there's like so many different government agencies and they don't even talk to each other. The more different government agencies and government you have in general cost more money and makes it less efficient. And so by having less fracturing of this, I think that seems like a good thing. Again, I don't have that much details about the zoning districts, but that sounds like a good thing to me. This is a good one that I think helps with the corruption issue, maybe. Um, it it further seeks to digitize the construction approval process through an electronic permitting system that features automated application tracking to reduce delays and improve service delivery. The digitization of things makes more transparency, or it should, because then you can observe what's happening um, with whatever permit. Now, I don't know if it's open to the public, but it should make it harder to hack, bribe, etc., depending on if the system's done well, which is a whole nother thing. But remember how I was talking about people using pieces of paper instead of a computer. This is a good improvement. Oh, Oscar's here. Hello, sir.
Hi, how are you? I'm not sure if you can hear me very well.
Yes, I do hear you better than our last guest. Howard, can you hear
Okay.
me? Have you
Yes, I
been
can hear you
listening?
very well. Yes, I've been following
I
through.
know you're
I've had a bit
so
of a
skeptical
challenge.
of this.
Not, yes, I am. Um,
This is Oscar from Elite Sanctuaries. He's also an agent in Nairobi and is very well versed and is a good advisor and has good information and perspective. So I was hoping you were able to hear what I'm talking about because I know you think I'm too idealistic about this stuff.
Not really, but maybe
Oh,
my views differ from yours. But I feel like um, we have an understanding of what's going on, and everyone has their own views, but they're just different.
tell me where I'm going off track. That's the interesting part.
I was listening in, but I may have missed the last
Oh,
last 3 minutes or so.
oh, okay. Did you see
Yes.
the Nairobi County zoning updates?
Yes, I saw them. But they have been saying that for quite a while now, and nothing has come. Nothing has come of it. It's merely just for show. From my side, it's just for show, but they don't really actualize it on the ground.
So, so okay. So for example, they're implementing a development impact fee for developing new properties. That's based on the location, the size of the project,
Mhm.
and all that. You're smiling. Tell me
But
why.
now the issue is, where has that happened so far?
Well, it's new policy. They have to implement it now.
Exactly. It has always been a new policy. If we are to take, like even Google, if we're to Google back when they announced these new policies, you'll find that they announce it I would say every quarter they do announce something of the sort. But then again, nobody actually implements the
Wait,
policies that they propose.
when was the last time we saw the zoning changes from Nairobi County? Because this just
It
came
was
out.
the Westlands one. There was a zoning gazetted notice for Westlands the last time you were here.
Uh oh. And what did that one promise then?
It promised to stop issuing new, what do you call it, licenses or
Oh
approvals
yeah.
to developers. But still, there are still new developments
But
coming up
was that
all
the
over
court?
Riverside.
Was that the court or
That was his, that was the core message, so that they try and limit new buildings coming up, so that they can control the one that they're already there, increase the sewer lines, which I haven't seen being worked on.
I seen
So
pictures on I think a Waiyaki Way. I saw under the sidewalk they were adding some drainage. Now just one picture. I know. Look, he's smiling.
Yes, Wayakiwe, they're actually doing a bit of work, but it's mostly on the sidewalk, on the left-hand side. They're
Mhm.
just renovating the sidewalk, but not really
And the
increasing the.
drainage.
Yes, essentially, yes. By working on the sidewalk, they're also working on the drainage. But it's not major works as what the Gazette notice stipulated.
Mm.
So currently, with our government, they do promise stuff, but they do it very, very, very slowly. So that's my, uh, I'll say, a bone to pick with them. It's the process of implementing. It's very, very slow.
Well, everything's kind of slow,
Yeah,
though.
but
No,
they
except for the
don't, nobody.
Chinese.
Yes, the Chinese are actually very fast, and some of them usually ask the government to actually work on the drainage, but the county government refuses. So you cannot touch anything in regards to public sidewalks, the drainage, the sewer lines, the sidewalks. You cannot touch them without approval from the city council. And the city
And they'll
council
say no.
doesn't want to approve this. They will say no. So for them, their logic is let's wait until everything settles down so that now we can do everything at once. But then again, we know that's not going to happen.
Why? Why not?
We
What?
really don't have. I'll say I really don't have much faith in the county government based off their prior track record. They haven't been doing things to a high standard or quick enough to actually solve the issues that are there.
So, do you think that currently they are doing more than they have done, or would you say the thing that everyone says is that they're just doing it right now because the election time, and then it'll go back to nothing being done?
Well,
Because I see a lot of
it's
stuff happening.
yes, but what do you see like from your end? What do you see? What's this that you're saying that's a lot happening?
I mean, some of the drainage on Waiyaki Way, they repaved the one side of Waiyaki Way. They've done the Gong flyover. They're doing the same thing at Kenyatta Avenue. Um,
Mhm.
the SGR going to Kisumu, the station down in Siokimau. I don't know how far they've gotten with that. I know they announced the subway. We'll talk about that because that's, I don't know about that. But which actually is the perfect solution. I don't know about the implementation. Talantia, even like the trash cans around, I think it's kind of weird that they're just in random locations. They're really nice trash cans though that they've put, but then they're on the dirt side, like leaning. I know they added lighting to the CBD. Um, it's kind of piecemeal, but outside of Westgate, they're doing drainage, right?
Yes, yes, they are doing drainage,
So, like
but
people
now,
are saying, oh, no, they're not addressing the drain and the infrastructure. I mean, now I see people complaining that the Gong flyover has too much traffic. Well, it has to be better than it was, and yes, it is kind of short. It's only what 600 meters, but it has to help alleviate because those traffic circles are like causing a lot of traffic that you can fly over now. I don't know. Lots of smiles. So go ahead. What do you think?
um, for me, I think our government, both the central and the county government, they are reactive. So they wait for us to complain first so that they can do it. But all these issues or all this progress that you've mentioned was supposed to be done. It wasn't we have to suffer first for them to do it. Because if you see like the Ngong flyover near Junction, it's actually very good. It kind of solves the problem of traffic. But then again, they haven't expanded the road on the other side. So there's that flyover that brings a lot of traffic from now the Ngong Road side. But when the cars now go down, the road is still the same size. So everyone meets at that junction. Now it's four lanes merging into one. So the traffic was just moved back there and brought in front. Now again, they will do another plan where they will now tell us they're going to expand the road. So I feel like the reactiveness of our government is what is really making us not see all this as progress. And then again, they do it in small bits and scattered as well. Because if it's drainage, it's supposed to be the whole of Waiakiri, not just a single segment of Waiakiri at one moment. So, like if you're doing something, the sewer lines, just do it all the way until to the main sewer deposit. Don't just do it in one singular segment. Solve that and then wait for people to complain for the next one and then do it. It kind of slows down the progress that you're making. And then again, there's also the elections that are coming up. So they are using all this as points so that they can see, yes, we are working. Look at us. We built the flyover. We are doing the sidewalks, the lights in the CBD. But it's just for political points. If you really want to work, we had like 5 years in each administration. So they should come up with a plan and then implement it in that 5 year period. So that's my thinking.
You know what it is? Your expectation of government is
Mhm.
very high. I think this is how most governments work. They suck and they're slow. And they only do things for political points. I think that's the standard. You know, like
Yes,
I don't
but
expect much. That's why personally, I don't like the things you give the government to do, the better. Because you
mhm.
see, the Chinese, they'll fix the road, they'll build a building, they'll do whatever needs to be done to make money. The government doesn't have to care about that.
But then again, we do pay taxes and we do expect something to come out of those taxes.
That's why
Like
it's better just to pay lower taxes and not rely on them.
if you, if you see the entrance to the expressway at Westlands, the mall, where there is the traffic circle that has been closed off,
Yeah, they just closed
do
it.
you find do you find it ideal? Like, is that how it's supposed to be?
No, but okay. Those
So
issues
so
are because
they
the
won't
city is
fix
not
it.
designed. The city is not designed for any of this. So going back in and correcting these things is hard. Like the roads don't
Is
even connect to each other. Like in a normal city, like all the side roads have a grid or something. They connect. In Nairobi, it's a dead end. There's only one way to go. You can't even. They, there's no alternative routes. So the main routes, like Ring Road and Olatoktok and all that, that's the only way you can go to get somewhere. Sometimes Riverside, especially.
Mhm.
So
But
you
no,
can't
the
really
thing,
fix that though.
but that's a different thing from what I was saying. Like you see where the roundabout is, they closed it and offer no solution to that closing. The roundabout is still there, so you just have to go around it. But if they could have made it into a straight road, everyone will just be going through it. It will be much
Oh,
quicker.
the obsession with the roundabouts with no traffic control is a big problem.
Exactly. So they're not doing things the way it's supposed to be done. They're very reactive. Until people start complaining, that's when they will do it.
Yeah,
If
but
you
I feel
don't
like that's
complain,
every
they'll just leave it
business.
aside.
Every business does it.
But the
In
government,
my opinion, most businesses do not operate correctly in Kenya. Like,
yes, but
what's happening here? To be honest. So I
because
like, why is there this higher expectation on the government?
because we do pay taxes. So our issue is the taxes that we're paying. We are not seeing them work for us. We don't see it at all. Because for you, you say like if somebody falls in a hole, you've just fallen into a hole. But it shouldn't be like that. The hole needs to be fixed. So until we start complaining and maybe in social media in large numbers, that's when they will do something to close that hole.
But see,
But we have
I
city inspectors, we have the city council officers. They do work every day, every single day. They see these holes, they see all these issues, but they do nothing about them.
I just think this is a task too big for the government to handle. Like I don't think
Then,
you should expect the government to do it. I think I
then
think
who should do it?
uh, there should be no hole in front of my property because it's my property.
But then again, you cannot touch that hole because the city council restricts you
So
from
I
doing
would
anything.
say don't tax people to inefficiently fix it. Just make the rich property owners responsible for it. The Chinese developers
But
are asking to upgrade things and they're being told no. That's crazy.
exactly. So if the government doesn't want to do it, the private sector do want to do it, then well, who's supposed to do it? Because the county government doesn't want to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in
See?
this new policy, they're implementing an electronic uh what is it called here? They're trying to make the permits electronic now.
Yeah, it is a step in the right direction, but until we see it, that's when we're going to believe it.
Okay. 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 Um Belgravia launch. You were there.
Yes,
Thoughts on Belgravia
I was
and
there at
the
the groundbreaking as well as the launch itself, and I feel like they are trying to bring a new vision into the market, the way they relate to the clients, to the agents, and the message that they want to pass through their development. I feel like Hans Group, Belgravia, they're doing something very nice, something very unique at the moment, and I'm very excited for what they're going to do. I really hope that the show house that they're going to do for both Luminara and Belgravia are going to match the kind of sophistication we have come to associate them with.
See, it's not just me, guys. Were you paid to say that?
No, 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 no. Wasn't paid.
All right. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I agree. We have to see the show house. Oh, someone had asked that. The show house for Luminara and Belgravia should be done at the end of September. That's what they're still saying.
Yes, currently Luminara they're at the ninth, oh no, no, 10th floor, on the 10th floor,
Oh, okay.
and they're also working on the show house. Nothing yet to see, but works is being done on the partitioning and all that.
They said Oscar for governor. Nah, I don't know if you resemble Sakaja or not.
Uh,
A little bit.
when I'm in a suit, I was actually on an elevator and a lady thought I was Sakaja. So
Ah.
so sometimes when I'm in a suit, I kind of
Okay.
resemble Sakaja.
Uh, they said, say one good thing about the county government. I dare you.
Well, at least they repaved Advent Scottec Road, so at least that's
Yes.
that's a good thing to me because the
And
bad road
Wood
was
Avenue.
really yes, and Wood Avenue as well, but it starts to have some potholes as well. Some potholes are forming up, so it wasn't a very good job, but at least it's something. But then again, it was a reaction to the journalist who did the piece on.
I like that guy. Oh, geez, my
Yeah,
soundboard's going crazy. He's cool. He's cool. He came from the
yeah. So
UK to do
he
journalism.
exactly, and
You think
that's
that
he
video
pointed
had
out
that
the
impact?
size. Yes, it did because it went viral. Everyone posted it. Everyone was very angry about the government, and then they had to do it because the government stance is always let all the construction finish so that we can do it. But then again, it convenience everyone.
But see, okay. Will the government send some people to come talk to you about that?
Mhm. Not really.
Really? So you can do that?
Yeah, you can do it because like we do have the freedom of speech as well, so
Do you?
we can just yeah we can criticize the government and hopefully they do work based off that criticism.
Okay. I'm just
But
asking.
also it depends who you are because he's a journalist, so I don't think they could threaten him or like confront him about it.
Or is it because he's from the UK?
He's Kenyan, so
He's Kenyan,
still
but
Kenyan.
but yeah, he's from the
Yeah,
UK.
but then again, the issue is Kenyans themselves, they find it somehow normal. Like it's normal for us to have a pothole. So they just walk past it. But it took
Hmm.
him from the UK, where he has experienced systems that are working, to come in and say that this is not normal. This is not how people are supposed to live. So it's also on us as the Kenyans, the citizens. We just assume it's normal.
See, I've been finding that with that's why people ask about opportunity in Kenya as far as business, and for me, I feel like that's what make has been making it easy is these things aren't normal to me. Like, why are you writing down things on pieces of paper when you have a computer? Like, why don't you have systems? Like, what's happening here? Right?
We are very,
Go ahead.
very manual. We're very manual in the way we do things, and it's exhausting at a point because it's very repetitive. We have to write down. You have to call people to get one singular information.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
But I feel like there's a lot of opportunity if you just do a better service.
but now it's a matter of if the people are willing to learn, if the market, the industry, the people want the change, or are they going to be very reactive to the
All
change as well?
all it takes is some competitors to come in, you know? Wink wink, nudge
True.
nudge.
But now for Kenyans, it's like if this system works, we're just going to go through with it.
Yeah.
But then again, it needs to. We need innovation in the industry. We need innovation in our day-to-day lives. So I think yeah, it does need competitors, people who will show us you can actually do this to get these results way quicker than the way you're doing it right now.
I see all that as opportunity because I'm like, what are y'all doing over here? Like, what's happening? And people hire 20 people to do a job that one person can do. Like,
Exactly. I
what's
actually
happening?
saw that in Wood Avenue when they were actually repaving the roads.
There's
They were
7 people
doing
standing.
7 people, and then there are two supervisors watching the people walking. So it was very, very weird for me. It made no sense.
Yeah, near Novatech. I think the way people do business in Kenya is still yet developed. One time I was at a particular developer, and I'm like, why are why are you not using the computer in front of you for this? And they said, oh, well, it's a third world country. What the heck does that have to do? Where are your systems? I don't understand it. But there is a mentality to that. Like I had when I had them install my like the wood framing for the washer and dryer on my balcony. They totally messed it up. They did a horrible job. And I'm like, why don't you guys like they measured and then what they brought had not the right measurement. And then there was all kinds of issues. And I'm actually helping them. I know how to do some of this work and I'm like I was like there's like 8 mistakes that you guys made that is easily correctable and they're like you don't understand. This is Kenya. And I'm like, Kenya means you can't measure? Like, what is it? Do you think that, what's up with that? I don't get it.
Uh, okay, it stems back to what I was saying previously. Like we are just used to bad things as the norm. So for us, we'll see it. This is normal. Like it could have been worse, but you got this. So at least be happy with it. So we have been conditioned
Yes.
to like expect the barest minimum as possible. So long as it works, we'll just go through with it. And
So
now
long as it
also
works.
the foreigners who are coming in, the Chinese, maybe Americans and all that, when they come in, they see us doing the barest minimum as possible. So for them, they also don't have the incentive to up their game, to improve their standards, because these people are already used to doing stuff in a certain way, which is very, very low standard. So they'll just continue with the low standard. So I feel like we also need a bit of exposure in all our major industries so that we get to see now this is what is the global standard and this is what we're doing. So we have to raise our standard so that we meet the global standard. But as of now, we're just doing the barest minimum.
Exposure. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay. What's my button here? Oak Rise. New listing, guys, in Westlands. I think that after the Diplomat and Hefe Palace, this is a next best location. Like if you were buying to be in the best location, because I like Luminara, although very well sold there as well. We've been looking for a Diplomat replacement. Many people were on the fence about buying, and now they're coming in asking about the Diplomat, and I'm like, you guys kind of missed it. They just announced this. I still have to do like the site analysis, but from the information I got, is this the next best thing? What do you think it? Because I know we've talked about after the Diplomat, and obviously Belgravia and Luminara, because of the new vision that they have around developments in general. But if you were looking to be in that particular part of Westlands and Upper Side, what do you think about Oak Rise?
For me, I'll say both good and somewhat bad review for Oak Rise. I feel like it's in a very, very good location. I haven't been to the location, but from the information that I do have, it's a very good location. Opposite it looks like it's low-rise building, so
That's
it
a
feels
little
like it's going
risky
to.
for me.
Yes, but it looks well developed though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
But
don't know the nature of these build. Are these high-end villas here? Is that what this is?
I haven't visited the site yet, but I'll make my way there. But for me, I feel like they are too repetitive in their developments. It's all the same. So if you look at the Oaks, what they've done, they do have very good finishing. Not the best finishing, but they do have good finishing. But
You would say
everything
it's
else,
just good?
it's just good. It's not,
Really?
for me,
Who's
it's
better
just
than
good
them?
because
Because I always feel like I don't have very many complaints about finishing at their properties.
So, which property are you looking at specifically?
I think Oak West was nice, and then Crystal Oak, and there was another one I looked at.
Capricorn?
No, Capricorn's not nice. That's horrible.
Yeah,
I don't count
Venus
that.
Oak.
They don't even put Capricorn in their catalog. No,
Venus
Venus
Oak.
Oak. No. Venus Oak is no. I'm talking about their
I
main
see.
portfolio. I'm not talking about those ones.
But now all of them are in their portfolio.
Yeah,
Both
but
the
those are
Venus
all
Oak,
the
the
off-brand
Capricorn.
ones.
Exactly. But they do that to test the market. So they put something maybe substandard or below par, and then they see how the market responds. If you respond badly, they even remove it from their website, from their portfolio. But it's still them. It's them
Is
who
that
did
what
it.
they're doing? Because
Yes.
when they do the off-brand ones, I don't. Dang, they're tricking me because I don't rate those
Because
ones.
now
Venus Oak,
Okrais
yeah.
will be
Capricorn, yeah. Because I view that
Neptune.
as Star Root.
Yes. Also, Neptune is also part of them.
I
So
don't.
Neptune is actually
Neptune's just average. Good
exactly.
location.
So it's a good location, but now the finishing is not the best. So
Yeah.
sometimes they do compromise. If they get a very good location, sometimes they compromise on the quality, which is what I've seen
Mm.
across some of their projects. So all of them, they are their projects, but now they pick and choose which one they're going to show the market, which I find kind of not straight.
Oh. So you wanted was okay. So if someone was buying wanted to buy the Diplomat because of the location, that was their main thing. What's the alternative that you would provide? Because we usually take people to Hefe Palace, but I'm a little questionable on them still. Um, the Oaks, I feel like you kind of know what you're gonna get.
Yes. So the Oaks, they do good, as I said. It's good, not the best. They just do
Who's the
very good
best?
development. The moment, at the moment, I don't have a best. From my side, I don't have a best. Because if we were to look even at Wonder Properties, some of their previous developments, they are
Yeah.
not holding up very, very well. And they're
Mm-hmm.
not a very good standard. So people see, even when you go to, what is it? I'd say the people who did Riverside one, they have a very good location, but the finishing inside wasn't the best. So you see, they are compromising on one thing. Either they get the location right, and then they let you down on the finishing.
They
And then
have really
people
good
just kind
locations.
yes. So people just accept
Riverside
it because
One.
of the location.
Riverside
Yes.
One is a great location, and then Forest One. I haven't been to that location, but I think that's a nice location from the map.
Yeah. First one is also a very, very good location
But
because
see, it's
it's
funny
next to offices.
with them. At least you can tell people that you're going to have a 5 out of 10 in quality. At least you know.
Yes, in terms of quality, you will have a very good finish, but not the best finishes. Then again, because I feel like the supervision, from what I've heard, when it's time to actually do supervision for all the units to finish in, sometimes the engineer are usually, or the supervisors are moved to the next project. So when they're completing the project, very few supervisions happen. So you'll find a lot of mistakes that have been done. The finishing, the grout, the paint work, electricals, they're usually left with no supervision. So that affects the final outcome.
It's so frustrating.
So
Wonder Properties.
we really need a standard so that we can be compared against this gold standard. And at the moment, I haven't found that gold standard in the market yet.
I'm really hoping and praying for Hans Group and Luminar and Belgravia to both deliver.
Yes, I really hope they don't rush it. They just do it exactly the way they told that they're going to do it. I will say the GY group with Amethyst, they've done a good job with Amethyst. Not Amethyst, um, Emerald.
Emerald. Yeah.
Yes, Emerald, they almost 90% of what was in the brochures or the renders was brought to life. But now again,
Yes.
we have, but their previous projects as well, they haven't really stood up to the test of time. So for them, they always
Uh,
tell us, look at Emerald. They always talk about Emerald. They
what
don't
about
talk about
Misty?
their other project. Yes,
Yeah.
Misty is not the best. The
I know
finishing
some
is
people
not the
that bought
best.
there that they're like it's just there.
Yeah, it's
They've
just
rented they've been doing Airbnb and they've been reporting back to me that it's been pretty much 100% occupied though.
yes, but now then again they're going to compete directly with them,
Right.
and
We'll
then
talk about
Grossven is also
Oversupply
coming up.
in a little bit.
Grossven is
Oh, we
also
got to talk
coming up.
about Grossmanor too. Oh my goodness. I wanted to complain about Wonder Properties a little bit because um, their projects are good, but their process is getting kind of annoying with the sales office.
Why?
Like,
Or
so okay, for you, um, when when do you advise clients to pay?
I do advise them once we have done the due diligence, visited the site, the show house, if it's there, as well as the previous developments. So once they are satisfied, like this is what you're going to get by visiting the show house. This is the site. These are the previous projects. So this is what you're going to expect once maybe a year or two have elapsed, and they're satisfied with that. The due diligence documents from the lawyers comes out clean. Then I advise them to pay.
The deposit before they have the contract?
You do get an offer letter first with no
That's not a
deposit.
contract.
Yes, it's not a contract. It's just for you to review the terms and everything. And then you pay the deposit and then you get the sales agreement.
You pay before you get the contract.
Well, you could request for a draft sales agreement. So the clients that do have lawyers, I request on their behalf for a draft sales agreement so that they can go through it before doing any kind of payment. But you find some clients don't have a lawyer yet, and they're usually prompted to pay first so that they could access the draft sales agreement.
I think it's a little crazy to pay without having an agreement in place first. Because what is the agreement in which this payment is being received upon? And so we have many people with lawyers, and then their lawyers taking so long to respond, and then they're pressuring them to pay, or they're trying to give the unit away. But it's like we don't have an agreement.
But without the signing of the sales agreement, the deposit can be refunded 100%.
Yeah.
So that's also a good thing because the sales
But
agreement
not
is
your
what
lawyer fee.
binds you. Oh
So
yeah,
you
your
have to
lawyer
already
fee
pay
won't
the
be refunded.
lawyer. So we had someone that they gave the unit away while the lawyers were still engaging. And so he had paid the lawyer, but then they already gave the unit away.
And there
Because
was
that
no
demand
offer
at the
letter.
diplomat, well, it went
Yes, there
past
is
the
a very
time
huge
because the
demand.
lawyer, but their lawyer's the one taking long, and then they're like, "Oh, you're out of time." Like what?
Because from my understanding, they should tell you about it before giving your unit away. So they should tell you like your time is over, and then now they will tell you that in the next 7 days or the next 3 days, your unit will be back in the market. Because
So
also
yeah.
it's a two-way thing because sometimes clients just sit on an offer letter without involving a lawyer, without doing any due diligence. They just sit on the offer letter, and then they waste the developer's time in
Yeah.
terms of like.
Yeah, it's okay to put a small deposit, not the 20% though, has been our policy.
Yes, you can put a booking fee as you negotiate, or if you're really serious, talk to a lawyer, do your due diligence, visit previous developments that they've done. They usually do give you that extension, like 14 to 3 weeks, 14 to 21 days maximum. That's the highest I've ever received, 21 days, for you to do your diligence and then be okay with it. Now pay the 20%.
So going back to like exposure and processes and stuff, this has been an exhausting fight that we've been having with everybody. Is that I some people have paid before they have a contract, but uh, I've been pushing that people shouldn't be paying deposits without a contract that says why, like what's governing the deposit. Like the the deposit is part of an agreement, but if we don't have the agreement, what is dictating how you're holding the money, what the money is for, et cetera, et cetera. So that's an exhausting fight we've been having. And then the second thing is um, why, like, everyone has a different contract. This is madness.
The off the offer letter or the sales
No,
agreement.
the sales agreement. Because because everyone because the standard contract generally is so bad that everyone has to negotiate the terms. So now
Yes,
everyone has to negotiate their own terms. Then the law firm is overloaded. They take 5 days to respond during every revision. It's crazy. This is silly.
yes. I do feel like the developers lawyers, when they're coming up with a sales agreement, they do favor the developers way, way more than the client. So when a client gets the sales agreement, it's not in their favor. And they have to change a lot of clauses and add a lot of clauses so that it makes sense to them. But then again, the developers hire the cheapest lawyer they could find and they get overwhelmed with a lot of work. Because if you're selling, like, let's say the Diplomat 600 units, you need a law firm that can be able to handle more than 600 clients. So you find a law firm not up to standard to be able to work with 600 or more people. So they take a very, very long time to respond, and it's very frustrating to clients. So I think the developers should also really invest in the law firm that they are working with and try and
Al-
make a very good.
Also, I mean, when a developer says that they're going for high quality, I've had this conversation recently. I'm like, well, if you're saying that this is a high quality project that's made to last long term, why are you only doing a 6 month warranty? Oh, well, it's industry standard. Well, that's inconsistent with your sales claims.
Yeah. Now that's where I talked about exposure. Because also us as agents and people in the industry, we also call it the industry standard. Like that's just how we do things. But we haven't been exposed to a system where there is actually, what do I call it, accountability after development. So for the Chinese, they just develop, wait for 6 months, and
And
then
run.
live, just live like that. You cannot find them, you cannot call them for anything. Their lawyers have already finished everything. So it's a very tricky situation that they leave their clients in, especially when they rush their final product. Because as I told you, the engineers, the supervisors move to the next project
Hmm.
almost immediately. Once it's announced, they shift to the next project. So all the works that is being done, which is usually finishing for the other project, is left with no supervision.
And that goes into my next thing, which is so we've been fighting all these fights and it's very exhausting because I'm like, no, this is like, we're not paying till we have a contract. And they think I'm crazy. I'm definitely getting on their nerves. And thanks to you guys. So, all of you guys that have been working with Almasi has given us some leverage to have these conversations with the developers. Trust me, I'm fighting the good fight because I could just do the same thing everyone else is doing. It's like, well, it's industry standard, take it or leave it. But no, we've been given pushback. Hey, if it's high quality, why does this contract say you're leaving in 6 months and good luck? And they're like, why? Because I think the attitude has been that the agents are just advocates for the developer. And so when agents are pushing back, they don't like it very much. I'm like, are they going to try to ban us? But they can't ban us because we have, thanks to your guys' support, clients that they want. So we're slowly trying to move things in a better direction, at least a more fair direction.
But I feel also the industry in itself is still evolving. Everyone is learning, but we are not learning from the best book there is to learn from.
Yeah,
We're
but
just learning from what the other people are doing.
I don't think it's learning. I think there's no reason to change unless you have to. Like, if people
Yeah,
are
true.
buying and they're giving me their money before we have a contract, well, then why would we bother? If they're signing this horrible contract, who cares?
That's where there is a need to for change. So like I really do appreciate what you're doing with Almasi. So you're trying to bring
Thanks.
a different perspective from what we are used to. And for some people, they really don't like change. Change to them is like a taboo.
I'm
So,
scared because we are a little difficult. Because I could feel the energy. They're like, "Why are you causing us these problems?"
but there is a need for that. So for me, I appreciate it because I feel there is a need for it. We need to see a different way of doing things, a different way of now transacting, accountability. Also, the lawyers themselves, they need to be proactive, be quicker in their dealings, be more honest and transparent as well. So you find like there's usually some hidden clauses that if you don't read them very, very well, you're going to suffer. So I feel lawyers as well, everybody in the industry should work with transparency so that we get a very good final product, not just high rise buildings for nothing.
And this is why I do like Hans Group, Belgravia, and Luminar because I they have shown movement on some of these things. Like they have been willing to adjust certain things to be better. But one topic that I did want to talk about that you've been bringing up as well is the property management situation. I think this is the next big fight that we'll be taking on is almost no one has a real property management plan
And also, there are no very well established
that's the
property
problem.
managers in Kenya.
Mhm.
So all of these property managers are fairly new. They haven't worked in a lot of property. They're just trying their luck, and the owners association will just give it to them. For Hans Group, from what I know, from what they have told me, is they are going to stay in the property so that they'll be able to manage the property itself. So this also is what's happening at Starwood. They haven't done it yet, but they have said for their next project, they are going to now manage the project themselves, which is a good thing. At least they will be held accountable because they're the ones who did it.
I
But
guess
there
that's
is a
good.
very, very huge gap for property managers. We don't have credible property managers who can actually maintain the building the way the developer intends it.
I know Wonder Properties is developing their property management arm, but I don't really believe in their ability to operate, to be honest. I'd really like to see like a professional company that's operated with experience maybe elsewhere come in and then they could just pass off the management of the building to them. That would be ideal. I guess second best would be for the developer to maintain management because here's the thing, like as a owner, you could form your own management, as the group, but I don't think that's going to be very effective either because the owners don't have good experience with this either. But getting into like the sales agreement, it's there's very little planning or clarity with almost any developer as far as the long-term prospects of the building as far as management, which I think is a big problem. I think this problem though, like, is understandable because the development is ahead of the services. But I think it's something that needs to be resolved soon.
Yeah, there is a very huge gap in property management. So I feel like people who maybe want to invest in real estate, they should not just focus on the buying and selling of properties. There's
Mhm.
still services that are required. There's security services, garbage services, cleaning services, property management in whole. It's a very, very huge gap that most people haven't really seen an opportunity in. But it's an opportunity that can be taken by the right people.
What Okay, so how are you advising people as far as the property management situation right now when they're buying? I don't have an answer. I just tell people it's bad, to be honest.
Uh, For me, I don't have a
Oh, and
credible
real quick for the audience,
property
when we're
manager.
saying property management, yes, on the rental side, but I'm really talking about like the building maintenance management, like who's managing fixing the pool, the lifts, the elevators, the common area, the garden, all that kind of stuff. So what are you
Yes,
telling
they're
people?
also repainting and all that.
Yeah.
As of now, I don't have a very good answer for that because I haven't seen the answer to it. There's still a problem in property management. Some developers do try. The developer who did Royal Legend in
Hmm.
Kilimani, he also did Royal Oak. It's in Lavington. So he actually repaints the older buildings so
Hmm.
that they are up to standard. So he tries and maintains each and every previous building that he has done, but it's not sustainable. He still doesn't have a good property manager to ensure that all the buildings are exactly the way he intended. And that's the
So
gap that's currently missing in the market.
talking about opportunity, see if one of you guys listening has worked as a high level condo association, HOA association, and know how to operate these things, come set up a company that manages these buildings. All you need is one contract to start. I think, I mean, you could get all the building contracts if it made sense for the developers to pass off the management to you. I think it's a huge opportunity. I'm surprised maybe some of these Dubai companies, like what are they doing in these other markets, right? Like I know Dubai has a big off-plan development thing. Like where are those building managers? Like why one of those companies should be coming to, I mean the market's wide open.
Yeah, because I also feel like if the developers do want to pass over the project to a credible project property manager, but there is none. So for them, they hold it onto the property for like 6 months and then now you're on your own. But if we did
Uh,
have a good property manager, it will also give the investors who are buying confidence that yes, this company is going to handle the project once it's done. That's a good thing. So if there's anyone who could actually do that, they could pitch it to the developers as well, so that their names are attached together.
he said, "This is Kenya. It's not worth the headache setting up business. Too much corruption and bribes to." I don't. I don't like. Who do you have to deal with to do a business? Like it's not that bad. What'll be bad is trying to convince one of the developers for the first time to give the building over to you to manage. That's going to be the hard part.
Well, I think
But
the hard part will be actually managing it.
I think that's easy.
Yes, but if it was easy, then they should be doing it, but nobody is doing it.
Yet there's no incentive.
The incentive is the service charge. Because if you look at the amount
No,
of
but
service charge that
my thing
this,
is they're still getting it, even though they're doing a bad job.
yeah,
Like Wonder Properties literally has their office at my building, and they're still like poor maintenance of things. Like people would just walk past it, and I'm like, guys, do you
exactly.
see like the sockets for the switches? I'm like, guys, can you install these? Why is there just wires hanging out of the wall?
Because also for them, they'll just move to the next project. Now, all their focus will be like, let's develop this new project and then leave the ones that have developed on your own. Like, as well as the mentality, like the comment, they just want to buy and rent. So if I buy and I have tenants, why should I worry about what the tenants are facing? So also that's a very bad mentality to have.
Passport Bro Investor, can you get anything done without paying bribes? I'd say, can you get anything done without paying a permit fee? And what the heck is the difference? And I bet you the bribe is less. Like, wow, the cops wanted $1 from me when they stopped me. That's better than $100 ticket you get in the U.S. At least I didn't have to go to 7 different agencies and fill out 1,000 forms and then pay all this money and then them not approve it. Like, y'all got to get over that. The Kenyan model thus far is laissez-faire. We should borrow a leaf from Dubai in 1990. Dubai had one hotel. Serious military style discipline and execution. Oh, okay. Um, Oversupply. You know, everyone is every agent's making a video about this now. They've discovered to say things other than everything's amazing. Now they're doing the opposite. They're like, oh no, it's oversupply everywhere. Look, all these buildings, that's a sign of oversupply.
Okay. For me, um, that statement of oversupply, it really doesn't hold so much water for me. From my perspective, I tend to view it that in Kenya, we have not experienced the level of development that's currently happening ever in our history. So this is the very first time where we are able to see like 5 blocks coming up. We have never experienced such. So from our perspective, seeing all this happening at once, the first thing that we run into is oversupply. There are too many. Like who's going to live here? Because if you take the views of the normal day-to-day Kenyans, they will tell you like nobody is going to live in all these buildings. We don't have that much people to live in this building.
That's what they say.
Yeah, but there's an
Why don't you
actual
go buy
demand for
land
this.
in Kajiado? It's 5 hours away from the city and build a house.
Yeah, that's the thinking of most Kenyans that nobody's going to buy a 20 million apartment, a 20 million shilling apartment. But people actually do buy and they sell out very, very quickly. So there is a credible demand for all this development that are currently happening. But now, from our perspective, we have never really experienced all these developments happening at once. So our safe zone is that it's too much. There's an oversupply. But we're not doing now the market data to get it and see that there's actually a demand. That's why people are building. Because the Chinese will not be blowing away, I'll say, billions of shillings to build something that there's no demand. Before you build it, you have to do a feasibility study. You have to see the market. How is the market going to respond to this? Do they really need this before you even build it? And we have seen even the worst of apartments. They still get clients. People still
The
buy them.
worst.
Yes, and people will still live in them. Because if we look like Misty currently, Misty has tenants. People have bought, people are living. Actually, there is no, from my end, what I inquired, there is no resale. So there is nobody reselling their unit at the moment. And people are living in there. And once Emerald is done, people will still live in Emerald and Misty. And they're going to be both occupied.
Yeah,
So
that's
there
my
is a
thing.
demand.
I think people just see buildings, but like there's two aspects of supply and demand. There's a supply and there's a demand side. Everything you try to rent gets rented right away. So that tells you something.
Yeah, true. Because in the same, I'll use Westlands Road because that's the road that most people use as the benchmark for oversupply.
Yeah,
There's
that's where
still
it's too much. Oh, this area is not good anymore. Oh.
there's Shangri-La just down the road.
Yep.
There's Misty, and Shangri-La does have tenants. People still live in Shangri-La, so I feel like
Oh, it's not empty like
everyone.
people say. People say all
It's
these
not in.
buildings are empty.
They're not empty. They're not empty. People do live there because I feel like each and every building or development has their own market. There are people who will prefer this to this. So eventually, the market will settle down and everyone will settle in their own preferences,
Mm-hmm.
you see. Because if you see, like, I'll use also Kileleshwa or that road, where we have Silver Oak, Crystal Oak, Venus Oak. Venus Oak and Crystal Oak are similar apartments done by the same
Kinda.
developer.
One's much
Yes,
nicer.
yes, one is much nicer and also newer. But there are still people who are buying Venus Oak, and there are still people buying Crystal Oak. And there will be people who are going to occupy Venus Oak. Actually, currently, I do have 3 clients who are actually renting out just across Venus Oak, waiting for it to complete so that they can move in. So people
Yeah,
will
right.
pass by and say, who's going to live at Crystal Oak, Venus Oak, Silver Oak? But there are people who live there. There are people who prefer to live in those kind of apartments. There are people who will not like Venus Oak, but they will love Crystal Oak. And for some reason, they won't love Crystal Oak, but they will love Venus Oak. And they will live in there. So I feel like each and every development has their own clientele. So there is a demand. There is no oversupply because they haven't tried the other side where there is also, I would say, over demand for these projects as well.
There's two things I don't want to forget, but I want to address this comment too. I figured out why everything is apartments, but I'll talk about that after we address this comment. But don't let me forget. Okay. Passport Borough Investor says Boris just had a podcast saying he was struggling to find tenants to rent his client's apartment in Westlands. You know why? Because people be overpricing their stuff and then they'll complain. Because if you accurately price your stuff, it will rent. But people are
I also
crazy. I'm like, what is
I
this
feel it's
price?
the developers. The developers do give them a very unrealistic
Oh yeah.
price. So they tell them that you'll be able to rent this for 150,000 Kenya shillings per month. But then
Mm-hmm.
again, they haven't factored in all these other costs. So if you rent 150 and you still require somebody to pay a service charge, it's already overpriced.
I
So
feel
the
like
apartment may be nice.
people just making up prices, man. Like, what are these prices? What are y'all talking about? I think it's very common because I see, I mean, for an apartment, if it's 2 bedrooms, the range is the range. Like, if you're outside the range, no one's going to rent it. That's crazy.
Exactly. And also some developers, they do tell them that the higher floors will fetch for a higher fee. But then in the market, it's
Ah,
usually not because some people won't pay that much just for a view, especially if they have rooftop amenities. Why would I
right.
pay this much for a view? And I'm getting the same size as somebody else on the lower floors.
Yeah, I
So
don't
you
think you could
find that
charge much more.
the developers overpromise. They actually do tell people that when you buy the higher floors, you'll be able to pay more, to earn
I
more.
only think like if you're renting out, you probably need to be the same price, but you'll get yours will get rented before a lower floor if you're at the same price.
Yes,
But
if
if
you're at
you're
the same
more,
price.
I think that's tough.
Yeah. Because sometimes you do find like the higher floors remain empty because somebody decided that they're going to overprice it. So they're not going to give the same price as maybe the unit on the 6th floor. So on the 15th floor, they will say that mine goes for 10,000 more. Nobody's going to pay that. So you're going to
Yeah,
struggle to find a tenant.
exactly.
Yeah.
Price discovery in Kenya is not the best because information is not readily available. Totally agree. Um, oh, Oscar, I didn't send you the new thing I've been working on because I sent you the one thing, but now we're really tracking the data. I'll send it to you
Oh,
later because I'm still working on it, but we're going to solve this data problem. Like,
I like
actually.
the one that you sent me. It's
Uh-huh.
actually a very very good tool. It's able to track the units as well. You can be able to pick
Mm,
a unit, get a payment plan. It's very, very nice. Now that's those are the kind of standards that we do need in the market. Nobody else is doing it. So if we are able to go through
right.
that route, then everything is going to be very much better.
And if we're able to have all the data from the availability over time, we can track lots of things. Plus, we we're going to start getting the Air DNA data and collecting the Airbnb data through them because they have an API with Airbnb, so they're actually getting the real rental metrics, and you can buy that information from them or track their reporting, which is accurate which is another component. But I'm still working on the sales part of it. But I mean, we're getting pretty serious about tracking all that because how can anyone decide anything? You know, if you're an investor, how can you even know?
It's very, it's very tough. It's a very tough way to deal with clients as well.
You got to come collaborate on our data analysis. What is it called? The our I don't know, wing of the company or something. Because I think we're going to be building out a dedicated reporting thing. It's needed. Speaking of that, because Haas is one of the only people that do that, although I don't really trust their information. Freedom says, Oscar, can you speak on Haas properties like Inaki on Red Hill? Is there buzz for this a Far Side project? Because everyone knows that I don't like them because of how they are. But here's another opinion. Go ahead.
Okay, for us, they really don't give out that much information to agents. So they try and control all their projects from what they will put out there, who they will actually target. So I can't really comment on us or if there's any buzz on their project or whatnot because they target their own clientele. They don't work with agents. They don't want to work with agents. They're just internal. Everything is done internally. So you really don't get any metrics, or they won't put any metrics that this sold out in 2 years or in 1 year, 6 months. They won't give you anything.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is that they control their narrative, but they've done well up until this point of controlling the narrative of getting a lot of brand trust and stuff. But I don't think that's working in the way that the market's moving. But we'll see. Atticus, I agree with you on these points you're talking about as far as like not making Nairobi like Dubai and all that. Oh, so I wanted to get back to my point. What I realize is that everyone's like, why are they building all these high rises? Why don't they build, other things? You know what's causing, and the reason for that first is the land value, right? If a quarter acre costs 300, 400, 500 million Kenyan shillings, you have to build like so many units to get your money back. But I think what drives that is the bad transportation. Because if I could live in a townhouse in Riru or, um, further out, if I had a way to get to work, a lot of people would elect to live further away to have more space. But because you would give up 3 hours of your day or even more to live further away, you're forced to live in the city, which then the only affordable option is going to be an apartment. So if the transportation was better, I think you would see the suburbs develop more and you could have apartments in the city, but like it wouldn't be where the only thing you're seeing are apartments, I think. But until that changes, I don't see a solution. Like the Thika Road is good, but it's not enough because it's still too much traffic.
But then again, there's also a lot of developments, high rises happening in the suburbs, like Sokimo. There's a lot of high
Because of
rises
the
coming up.
transportation.
Developers, exactly. So developers are also moving towards that side, doing high rise building as well. So at some point, it stops being about the land value, but
Mm.
just maximizing the space that you have. So you find high rises in Tokyo. People really don't really want high rises in Tokyo, but because there's a lot of profits to be made, they will still build it there.
Yeah, and I guess if it's the Chinese, probably that's kind of what they're used to building. So that's another reason why that's what they're going to bring. But
Yeah.
okay, I wonder what the economics look like when you're building the townhouse developments versus the apartment. I guess maybe the apartment's still better. But then that goes into zoning. Maybe you have different zoning in certain areas where you can't build as high. I don't know. I'm just thinking, because I know
And
it's a complaint to have so many high rises, which I think should be addressed in zoning. But most cities have a lot of high rises. That's normal. But outside the city,
yeah, but also in terms of zoning, I would say the only place in Nairobi where zoning works very well is Lavington. Lavington is
yeah.
where they have really stood firm on the commitment not to build high rises. For parts of
Why is that?
Kileleshwa, it was because Lavington is where I'll say most government officials do live there, and they want for it to remain exactly the way it is. So Lavington, parts Gigiri as well, they don't want high
Yeah.
rises. They want it to be as exclusive as possible. So you really cannot bribe a government official unless you're bribing them with so much money. So for Westlands, you could bypass, build as high as you can. But now Lavington is the one that's doing it the best. For the suburbs, there is no really that great demand for, let's say, 20 floors. So developers will try and do less than 20, 15, 10 floors to try and maximize on the space that they do
Um, who are the people moving into these apartments?
have. Okay. So that depends with the area.
I'll say Westlands
For
because that's where
Westlands,
everything is. Yeah.
for Westlands is mostly actually the first tenants are usually Airbnbs. So people who are looking to rent your space as an Airbnb. So they will pay you the rent that you're asking and then now put in their daily rates and then market it out. So for Westlands, a lot of people who are the tenants are the people doing it for business. And then now they will put in their rates and then business travelers, um, there's just casual travelers, tourists and all the likes will now move in to stay maybe 3 months, 2 weeks, 6 months and the likes. But for Kilimani, you'll find mostly West Africans. I will say that.
I was gonna joke and say Nigerians.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
didn't think you
For
were gonna
Nigerians,
say
it's
that.
because actually their embassy is in Kilimani, so they will live close to their embassy. So they'll live close to Kilimani as possible.
It's not mostly West Africans.
It actually is because if you take a walk, you'll find a lot of Cameroonians, Senegalese, Nigerians in large numbers, and then there are some locals who are living in these apartments. But I'll say the ratio is close to 50-50. 50% locals, 50% foreigners
Hmm.
in these apartments. Yes.
I like the energy in Kilimani, to be honest. I know a lot of people are a little down on Kilimani, but I still like it. I just wouldn't want to live right in the middle of everything, but I find Kilimani much more convenient than Westlands, to be honest. Like, I don't know. What
But
do you think?
Kilimani is, both Kilimani and Westlands, they're very high paced. Things are moving very, very quick. But then I'll say that Kilimani is a bit chaotic,
More?
especially it's more chaotic because the roads are way narrower.
Huh.
So when there is a traffic jam or the big buses just randomly stop anywhere they want, and then it causes a very, very huge traffic jam. And then
Huh.
everybody gets frustrated, and then so it's a bit more of chaotic energy, but still as high paced as Westlands. Westlands, we have Wayaki Way, we have the expressway, so it kind of allows for connectivity and faster movement. But for Kilimani, very narrow roads, very little maneuverability,
I
so
feel the opposite. That's
it's
funny. Okay. MH, I'm cultured, okay? I could tell where people are from for sure, if they're West African or not. The funny thing about Nigerians are when I see Nigerians, they're either American or they're Nigerian because I feel like we look similar as a side note because we dress kind of similar unless they're wearing like Nigerian clothes. They're going to have brand name sunglasses. They're going to have more colors. and they're gonna walk with a little bit more swag. And the Black Americans are the same because we're from West Africa. So I'm like Nigerian or American, I can't tell. Thoughts on Grosvenor slash Cheval?
Yeah,
Ah,
gross.
uh, I
So for
want to like
Grosvenor,
Cheval.
they
It looks so cool, but
yes, for Grosvenor, they've actually had a few clients who are complaining about the the finishing. So the finishing was not up to standard. They had to, or they are redoing their show houses so that it matches what they had promised their clients. So my thoughts is we have to wait for the new show houses that they're doing so that we can see. But my initial thoughts are they did a rushed job. They got the money and then they did not deliver what the clients expected to deliver. So one of the show houses, I shared some of the pictures with you. The clients
no.
totally refused it. They completely refused that show house. So they actually had to abandon it and move to a different show house. So the tiling, the cabinets, the finishing, everything was off. So for me, they promise such a very good thing, but then they deliver the exact opposite. So for Cheval as well, it's a very nice design from the outside. But if we're going to go with Grosvenor and also the other project that they did, Pinecrest, there isn't much to look out for. I will say that I'm very excited for Cheval based off their previous projects.
And that's unfortunate because Shovel looks really cool, but that's what we've been saying too. I saw the pictures you sent me, and I was just like, it's on stand. Like maybe they improve because Wonder Properties got better, right? Like Diplomat is quite good compared to like Alina. So we'll
Yes, but
see.
now,
But
but now for Grosvenor, if that's what they wanted to give their clients as the final piece, then it shows that they really don't care about the client
yeah, true.
because that's what they were presenting as a show house. Because Grosvenor is around 80-90% sold out, and that's the best offering they could give to their clients, and they ultimately refused it. So it
Mm.
shows they really don't care about the end product. So if they're promising Chevrolet with all these things, then I wouldn't be so excited to go to their next project if their current project is not up to standard.
So if someone wants to buy on Riverside, what's the best option? Because I haven't seen
At the moment,
seasons. Is it
executive.
really?
At the moment, I will recommend executive. I feel it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I feel that way too. I just feel like because of the issues I have with their office all the time, I'm trying to find, please, someone else do
For,
good because goodness
for
gracious.
seasons, they have done very good rendering. But now that's one
Uh,
thing. Renders are one thing, the final product is a different thing.
right.
So we have to kind of wait and see what kind of materials are they bringing in. I like the idea of Hans Group Luminara, where they let you interact with the materials that are going to bring in, the finishing
Mm.
that they're going to use. So that's a good touch. I feel like should other developers also try and emulate this. Even if the show house is not ready, just show us the
Yeah.
material that you're going to use. And then we can interact with them, maybe give you feedback, this is not good, or maybe use this. It will help with the final product. So we wait to see if other developers are going to implement that experience of touching and
I know
feeling.
it's such a small thing, but it makes a big difference. And well, because I know Jonas from Hans Group, he was in China months before the launch, like selecting all the materials. So it makes sense to bring some of them. So, hey, this is the light fixture, this is that. So at least like there's something to look at, and it shows some like effort on like being transparent, which is important to me. Abdi, what's going on? How are you? Um, Atticus is dropping some good comments because I agree. Sanitation and waste management, $1 billion business. I agree. Because why the heck are these developments just having a room by the gate where they just put trash? That's horrible. Why don't they use dumpsters and they just pick the dumpster up? But they'd rather just pick things up by hand. Yuck. And it smells. It's unsanitary.
Yeah, so those are the kind of standards that developers don't want to improve on because, as you mentioned, they say this is a third world country, so they just do it. And it's actually very, very sad, actually, because it's just a very minor thing that they need to change or just tweak so that it's
Literally
very
just a
convenient for everyone.
container. But it
Exactly.
makes sense. But okay, but to their credit, um like we have companies that do that, right? So the company will come with the truck, they'll give you the dumpster or you buy the dumpsters and say, okay, I have this many units here. Okay, I need this much space for dumpsters. The truck comes, it usually has like a arm or something that can grab the thing and dump it in there, and then they take it away to wherever they need to take it to, and then they pay for the dump. If I'm a developer, it's a little hard for me to develop that whole system. But this is why I like this comment. There's the opportunity to, okay, let me get some trucks and let me sell some dumpsters and then we'll come pick it up and it won't be so unsanitary.
But now that opportunity also now comes back to the government. Will they allow you to set up such a thing? Or will
Well,
they want to
where
do
does
it themselves?
yeah, where does I was going to ask that. Where does trash go now? Like, okay,
We do
but they're
have a dump site, one singular dump site for all Nairobi's trash. And then this is controlled by the government as well.
you just pay
So
the,
for
like
you
cuz they
also,
collect trash.
yes, you also have to get permits, approvals for you to actually do the waste management. And it's very, very, they frustrate you so that you don't get it in the entire approvals. So only the select few are able to actually get all these
Uh,
approvals.
it's doable. Do they have fire alarms in these buildings that go off in each apartment?
Not really. They're not fire. There are fire systems, but they're usually the fire hose, the water hose,
Yeah, there's
and
one
the
hose
fire
in most of them.
extinguishers. We don't have smoke dictators or the alarms per se.
Yeah.
I haven't seen much, but they're usually there. Let me see. Yeah, they do have.
Uh, Oscar does he speaks like Sakaja? Is that what that means?
It's, he's asking if I look like Sakaja.
Oh, you look like Sema speak, no?
Yeah.
The Fanyas do.
Yeah, he's asking who is that who says that I look like Sakaja. He's asking who said that.
Oh, okay. I need space, land, can't do the apartment thing. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, if you want to be near stuff, you got to be in the city. That's the only thing. Chinese are used to building these tall buildings. That's true. They have a bajillion people. So all these new buildings and development, where is the income coming from? Did Kenya get an overnight increase in GDP per capita or something? What's your thoughts on that? Because one of the arguments on the oversupply issue is, are they making the wrong type of inventory? Uh, is it too much high end inventory? My thing is, you just lower the price if you need to. But what do you think? Because I think Tinka Patience, she sent me her video, was talking about that.
I haven't looked at the numbers yet for the GDP or salaries. I would say the salaries are not increasing. But even before this development started coming up, there was a need for, I would say, luxury or high end developments.
Mm.
So there were people who could afford all this, but they never had the supply. So now, when
Oh,
they did realize that there are people who actually could afford these apartments and they need it, now everyone started building it. So people were there, they had the money, they wanted something, but there was nothing available because, as you know, the previous, I would say, Kenyan developers are usually low-rise building, 7 floors, 6 floors. They offer a lot in space. They are very spacious, but they don't have all this, I would say, the luxury materials, high-end materials. So there was a market for high-end development, and then now the Chinese came in to now solve that demand metric.
Interesting. So there was a lack of supply. What do you
Yes,
think?
there was a
The
lack
middle
of supply.
class is not growing?
The middle class has been stagnant for a while.
Dang.
And I will say it's because the middle class is actually the most disadvantaged class, I will say. Because,
Really?
yes, they have a lot of, I'll say, responsibilities or like expectations on them. But also now their salaries, their income is not growing as much as the expectations are. So for them, they cannot really live in this high end kind of developments. So for them, they're very conservative. They will try and conserve what they have. So you'll find, like, let's say, for example, Kileleshwa, that these older apartments, they were very well, nicely done. They won't move or sell them. They will want to maintain it
Yeah.
because once they sell it off, they cannot be able to live and maintain the lifestyle of these high-end apartments.
Oh, that
Yes.
makes sense.
So
Yeah.
that they don't really want to move into this high-end stuff. They want to remain conservative where they are. So you'll find even people in Lavington, some parts of Kileleshwa, even Dennis Sprit with Amethyst, they will really, really refuse any kind of development coming up. They will all
Well,
band together to make sure nothing comes up.
so I know we kind of went past the developer conversation, but I do want to bring that up because see, Emerald did a good job with Emerald Springs now,
Yes, the
and
GY group.
the GUI group, yeah. But and I had them ranked very highly, but now their lack of transparency about this amethyst issue. Like I kept asking them about the court date, and literally they just ran away. They just stopped responding to me. So now I'm like okay, well, do I want to deal with you guys when you got to face this issue head on? It wasn't their fault that this got stopped, but like you got to come clean. And this is the thing. What they take all them bookings, and now they're sitting on all them bookings that they can't. For the audience, there was a lawsuit against Amethyst because it's in a certain area of Kilimani that there's not very many high rises, and there's important people, I guess, that live over that way, and their project is stalled. What was the resolution? Like, I don't even know what happened because they won't talk to me about it. But it looks like it's not happening. Maybe.
Yeah, so currently there isn't a concrete resolution because they just have another court date. So they've been having court dates from February. So they had February, they had June, and then the next one is now September. So they have to wait until September, present their petition, judge hears, and then makes a decision. But so far, no decision has been made, either to stop the project or for it to continue. And now the issue is the GY group will not communicate openly to the agents, to the industry, to the clients. So everyone is left in darkness. You really have to dig for this information on your own, which I
Yeah,
find
because they'll
very
tell it.
dishonest from them.
Since February, we've been going to their office, and they're like, "Oh, it'll get cleared up next week. Oh, it'll get cleared up next week. Oh, it'll get cleared up next week." And I don't see that really damages your reputation to keep telling me that because this buying off plan has a lot of trust that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. And when you're eroding the trust by continuing to say that, I have a big problem with that. And it's unfortunate. See, all the developers I like keep making mistakes that make me get off of them. Like,
So for them,
Like you
their
said,
main
real estate
issue,
is exhausting. Like,
very exhausting.
just tell the truth. Like, my gosh.
So for them, they are hoping they could hold on to their clients for as long as possible until their new project comes up, and then they will just transfer
Move
the
them.
clients from Amethyst to the new project. But then
Why
again,
think they
that's not
would
the
have
proper
done
way to
that
do stuff.
if you had told the truth? Now I don't believe you, you know?
Yeah, because a lot of clients are really losing trust in their way of doing things. And also me myself, I'm not really excited to work with them because now how will we transfer the clients to their new project when they have no resolution on this other project?
And they just ghost you. Like what?
Yeah,
What
it's
kind
very weird from them. If you really try and probe so much, they will even restrict you from going to their offices. So
really?
that's yeah, so that there's no confrontation. They want to control communication, but they are not communicating anything. So they're very silent on everything.
I just feel like these are very big business mistakes because they had a lot of goodwill from their last project and now they're wrecking it. Because I will always say GY Group you can always trust to buy from because of what they are delivering.
Yeah, but
But
they
now
got
they
ahead
made a
of
new
themselves.
problem.
Yes. And it's going to be a bit tough to get back the investors' confidence back to invest in them in their new project. I've already seen they've done billboards announcing their next project,
Yes. And
but
I asked them about the new project and the information, and they literally didn't respond.
also the billboards are very vague. They haven't really done much on them, but they've just said that something is coming in Westland. So I really don't understand what's the point
See, Passport Bro
secretive
investor, I
about
see
Amethyst and
he
then
said
announcing.
he says we love 1870 by Haas, best building location in Nairobi. But bro, see, it's been under construction for 6 years. You're buying into the hype. So and you're arguing this oversupply stuff. I think you're off the target a little bit because I don't know. Anyway, farming has always been my dream in Kenya. Would you say that real estate Airbnb is still a good and reliable investment of 250,000, I guess, dollars, or should I invest in farming? Uh, for me, you can invest in anything and do good. Do you know what you're doing? People just have dreams and think it's you know business is hard AF in anything. It's hard. And then you're going to a different country to do it. Any thoughts, Oscar? Do you have any dreams of farming?
I do have dreams of farming, but then again, it comes down to the level of expertise. Like if you're a good farmer or you know what you're doing with farming, then it will make sense for you to invest in farming. But if you also want to try it from scratch in a foreign country, um, it's not the best advice I would give to you that you should try farming. Farming is good in Kenya, but you also need to know the right people, fertilizers, seeds, all that. So it's a whole different industry.
I plan to get some land and get some cows and chickens and stuff, but I'm by no means expecting to like make it an efficient business. I just want to learn about it and do some stuff. And if it works, it works. But um, the real estate's variables are easily known. You can easily kind of know about what you should rent for if you're going long term rental. Airbnb is a little more tricky. And you definitely know what you're paying for the property, and you should know the upkeep. So the end variable on your profit is easy to calculate. That's the thing about real estate. Farming, Who the heck know? I mean, if you're a farmer, you can know like, okay, this cow should generate this much and it should have these expenses and I'm going to need this infrastructure. Like if you're in that business, you'll know, but I don't know. So if you don't know, you're going to have a learning curve. Like there's a guy in Uganda that does the eggs, the chickens, and he shares everything. It's called Farm Up. You should definitely watch that if you're into farming because you'll learn everything about chickens. I watched all the stuff, hours and hours. And but he had a time where all the chickens died from some kind of virus or something. So imagine you do this big operation and then all your chickens die. Okay, bye. Say goodbye to all your money. So you got to know what you're doing. Or start small. That's the other thing. People come here with a big bag and money don't solve all your problems, you know? So I really think when you're coming to Kenya, you got to stay in your skill set, at least in the beginning.
Yeah.
Doing the sanitation business would be major. I know doing it for neighborhoods would be a monumental task, but starting small would be good. Yeah, I think if you could start with one developer, get a contract, figure out the dumping part, you could do some things. Passport Bro Investor Home, thanks for that. I guess it's just more difficult. Just buy a landfill, or but what's the regulation with having a landfill? But yeah, um, I went to 88. They said they will be watching the security cameras to see when trash needs to be collected. The developer is from the UK and has done loads of projects in Europe. What? Thanks, Atticus. I feel like I've watched your stuff before, so you look familiar. Dandora dump site. Okay. Everybody has Airbnb, even the baddies. Too much bureaucracy. The guest's very correct. They did fire alarms and sprinklers in 88. I don't think concrete buildings have a big prone to fire, but I do think there should be smoke alarms, but you could buy one. But yeah, for the building, and then they don't have it. Oh, if you want to pay 25 million for a one bedroom, the Saruni has a sprinkler system. um, I'm going through the comments. Need the next developer to install garbage chutes. I do not like taking my garbage all the way downstairs, but most people have a house person that does this stuff. Oscar is the most pessimistic real estate sales guy ever. That's why he's on here because he actually will tell you. He won't just go, "This is the most amazing development I've ever seen, and you should buy it right now." Rare times he says something good. You better listen. Middle class is stagnant in Kenya now. That's not good. Nairobi hype is what's led to development. Not much has changed for Kenyans. I worked in waste management for 15 years. Proactive government regulation, permitting, and financial incentives are key. There's a lot of money flowing in Kenya, a lot. It's a ticking time bomb with no fire alarms. Does the soldier call each unit? What? I I I don't, guys. All this doom and gloom, especially about fires, I don't get it. it it's like owning an apartment in Manhattan. Yeah, like if your family owned property. I know the people in Kiambu County, especially like Limuru, are really happy because they are all rich now with the land. Because, man, what's up with their land prices went crazy. Verona had a 2-year court case. That's what delayed the project. Verona's mysterious. What do you think about Verona?
Verona, Verona, they're actually building quite fast, I would say.
Oh, now?
Yes, I was there last week. I was actually at Pandora, but their construction was actually progressing. They have workers
Wow.
coming in, the trucks are coming in. So I really don't think there's any um, stalling in the process. Everything is being built. I'm not
I
sure if
think
they're
they
on
stalled
track. I
early
haven't.
because they were on like the
They
third or fourth floor for a long time. The show house does look
yes,
pretty good.
there was a time there were no even construction workers at site. but from the last times I've been there, construction is happening, everything is moving. So I will say everything is still on track. I will guess it's still on track.
Did you see the show house?
No, I haven't been to the
Oh,
showhouse.
okay. We had someone by there, so they sent me a video. It looked pretty good. I liked the layout. It was a little bit different. We liked it when we saw it, but for some reason they wanted us to take the video down, even though the video is one of the more positive videos we've done. Strange.
Yeah, very strange.
um, wait, Blacklist 2, GY Group? Not yet, but almost. Now we have to give disclaimers about their situation. So then, do you have a top 5 projects?
Uh, Currently, at the top of my head, no. I haven't ranked them as top five.
No, do it now.
In terms of off plan, or
Give me off plan the projects you feel comfortable recommending.
in terms of off plan, I won't give them in like a top five or in a list,
Not
but
in
I'll
order.
say
Yeah.
yes. There is Belgravia. I'll put Oak Rise, Executive
Oak
Suits.
Rise. Oh wait, you just talked trash about it.
No, no, I said there's two ways. The location is good, but now the
They're
type of
boring.
construction that they do, yes, it's predictable. Like it's
MH
the
said
same
that
thing
too.
over and over.
Hmm.
So like when I go to one show house and the next, it's still the same thing. I don't see any innovation or I'm wowed by anything.
In this
So
market, I
that's
feel
my only undoing.
as an advisor, it makes me more comfortable because I'm like, especially if someone's a little like unsure. But
Well,
okay,
they are
sorry.
predictable, which is nice. But then again, they have the capability. I know for a fact. Financially, they are doing very, very well. They have the clientele, so it won't hurt them to like try and innovate, like the garbage chutes, the maybe the sprinkler system. Like just add a little bit of something that's not on your previous development. It will make
Yeah.
much more of a difference. Yeah, no, that's the wow factor. I will say the extra mile.
Okay. So Belgravia, Oak Rise,
Executive suits.
Executive Suites on Riverside.
Um, I don't seem to have any other. In Kilimani, I don't have any.
You don't like Ivy Park.
Ivy Park is for the most part sold. The good ones are sold.
Already. Block
So
and Molina.
exactly. So
Is that
and
mall
also there
there
is
on the
an
corner? Did
yes,
they
but there
build it?
is talks of it being a mall and also residential on top. So I
Really?
haven't really got the full information, but I've heard that they may have commercial and residential on top.
Eddie Boy said, "Hello, Oscar brother. I see you in a lot of other people's channels nowadays. You're a celebrity,
I do get around, so
Oscar."
yeah.
Oh, Abdi was the one eating a burger with a fork. What's going on with that? Do you eat your burgers with a fork?
No, 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 you grab it by hand.
If if you have farming experience, you might be able to do it. But that's the other issue is for figuring out the market, people, culture, where to sell your stuff, how to negotiate, and you're going to be at a disadvantage because everyone's going to give you horrible pricing and try to get you. But if you know what you're doing, then you can overcome that. But don't go big at first. Do something small and then figure out all the problems. Oscar is being honest. See, look, Oscar, MH said you won her over because she was saying you're boring, but Now everyone's appreciating your honesty and your perspective.
I appreciate that.
What do you have to say about being boring?
Okay, that's subjective. So maybe some people will find it boring, some people will find it honest, some people will find it pessimistic. It's up to them, but I'm just being myself. I'm
What do you
just
do
giving
on
the
your off
opinion based
time?
on what I've said.
What do you do on your off time?
What I
Tell
do
the
in my
people. Tell the
off
people about Oscar.
time. For me, my off time, I spend it a lot with my dogs. I do have two dogs, and I walk them a lot. So yeah, I like spending my time with my dogs.
German Shepherds.
Yes, German Shepherds. So
Oh, okay.
they're very nice dogs. They're also quite old. So they're around 8 years, 8, 9 years old.
No
So
wonder.
they're very long, slow walks for them.
Uh, do you have a problem with their hair? It gets everywhere.
Not really, not really. It actually does. They do keep their hair very well, but sometimes they do overgrow, and then like when you hold them, the hairs just
Mm.
keep going off. Especially during when it's cold and then it turns to hot. Now they'll start shedding their hair.
Wealth Stack, Ryan, would you ever consider a WhatsApp group or Discord? So there are potential collaborative efforts that could be interesting to explore, stemming from the chats or just to compare notes. I'm thinking about, so we have announcements, WhatsApp group for interesting things going on. Uh, I'm thinking about doing a Discord server. The problem is these groups devolve, and then you get the weirdos in there, and then like everyone's an expert in stuff when they're not experts, and then you're dealing with the diaspora. That's not really my favorite, to be honest. Like it just devolves. I was in that Nexus group. I was like, okay, I'm out of here. This is weird. I'll talk about some nonsense. So I think the moderation becomes a thing, and I don't think I'm the right person to be managing that. I like to just do our announcements because, goodness gracious, these groups. Honestly, returning to Africa attracts a group of people that generally are not my favorite people, to be honest. You guys are cool, but I'm sorry, Oscar. You don't really get our best people. So I hope we're not judged too harshly because, goodness gracious, the people. I'm like. It's a little embarrassing. I don't know. Like, see, because the people that
That's a
come to
good
the
thing about
U.S., it's hard to come to the U.S., and so you have to be really exceptional to like be able to make it there and then work really hard. So like the immigrants to the U.S. are become doctors and they become very successful because we're getting like the top 1% of people that are coming. Um, Americans leaving America, they're leaving because they're not doing well. They're like it's the opposite generally. Not to be too judgmental, but yikes. Because like when we're getting Nigerians or Indians, they become doctors. They're very successful because you have to be really driven to even make it. I mean, if you go to Nigeria, like the average person isn't a doctor, but in the U.S., that's the perspective that we may have is like, oh, they're very well educated, but that's because you're getting those groups of people. In reverse, you're not getting. I'm sorry, you're not getting the best Americans. Some of these people are kind of weird. So, and then you add this returning to Africa thing on top of it, and then you get really weird people with weird expectations and stuff. So, but I've met a lot of really cool people, but I just know, I'm like, yikes. If one group made it very, this is the other thing. I'm sorry, but Black Americans specifically, and this Pan African thing, and this is something I was going to talk about on the Kinganda thing if I ever get on there. Is like you can't force collaborations. They only work when the interests align and it makes sense. You can't just get a whole bunch of black people together and think it's going to work just because we're black or we have this one thing. Like, you need people with different skill sets and the resources and all that. Just the will to collaborate is not enough. Family homes are being ignored. People are having kids in Africa like crazy. What do you think about buying the old apartments and remodeling them? I think remodeling and the concrete construction is a little bit harder. Oscar, what do you think about? People don't really remodel. I feel like they would just rather build their own new house somewhere.
Yeah, people don't remodel. It's actually quite costly to remodel it because the building standards that they were built on are not the same as now the current standards or the modern standards that they are. So remodeling will be almost the same as now buying a new apartment. So in my advice, I'll just tell you like buy a new apartment. Remodeling will be too much work, too much hassle because the skill set is also not that great or what you would expect to get. So you'll just be selling yourself short.
Yeah. This is a good question. What's the best value for money project in your estimation? Oh, well, there's a project I want to bring up, but tell me first.
Best value for money.
I have one.
For investment, I would say. For me, I will go with Ivy Park.
Really?
Yes,
That makes
because
sense.
if if the next development remains as a mall, and considering Kiricho Road where Ivy Park is at a dead end, so it's much more quiet, much more peaceful, and then you'll have the added value of a shopping mall.
Yeah, I like that
So
location a lot.
more and more people will want to rent that location.
What do you think about Kilimani in general for investment? Because I usually send people to Westlands if they can afford the budget.
Okay. For Westlands, the pricing, the tenancy is a bit more, I would say, premium because the people who are renting there, they really don't um, hassle or they don't negotiate over the price. They negotiate based off the finishing and the amenities that there are. So it's easier for you to get back or to charge a higher premium than in Kilimani. For Kilimani, if you want, I'll say, consistent, stable income, you may be able to get it
Mm-hmm.
if the building just offers the common amenities and it's properly maintained. For example, Starwood, the very first Starwood, the building Starwood,
There's
it
always
doesn't
people
have.
right there.
It's always occupied. Actually, sometimes they do have a wait list for people who want to move in. So long as you maintain the building very well, the amenities really doesn't matter. People will pay the same price. But for Westlands, you'll get a higher premium by the development being much more premium in itself.
We got to
So
talk
if you
about
want to
Ivy
get
West. Oh, sorry, sorry.
IVMS,
Wait, not yet.
okay, okay,
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I feel like that way. Like if you want more stable income, do Kilimani and just do long term because it's more apt for that. Real quick, Nairobi Barbie, you're doing great with your Swahili, Ryan. But if you want to be fluent, you know where to find a Taita person. Oh, I would love a Taita lady to teach me some Swahili. um. Oh, okay. What I was gonna say was, I find Berkeley homes interesting and Berkeley residency on Raptor Road. I like that location a lot, and their pricing is really good. But the quality is going to be a five. I'm pretty sure. What do you think
okay.
about Berkeley?
So for Berkeley, but for the Westlands, so not the
Well,
Kileleshwa.
in general, but I, I'm curious. Well, I'm next. I'm going to ask you about Raptor Road and Sports Lane and Marina Bay and that area.
Okay. For Berkeley Homes, the Kileleshwa one, my biggest problem is the traffic right outside the apartment. So that area always has lots of traffic. No
Mhm.
matter the time of day, there's always traffic. So it really kind of defeats the purpose, you being next to the road, but you can't even access the road because there's so much traffic. So unless there's expansion, then for me,
Mm.
the issue of traffic is going to be a very huge mess. Because I asked them if they're going to do an exit gate that doesn't lead directly to the road, because they do have access from
On the
down,
side.
yeah, from where their offices are. They have access from that side. So I'm not sure if they're going to do it. It's going to considerably help with the movement from one place to the other. But all in all, I find the apartments are fairly priced for that location. So it's a very nice price, and I kind of see demand for people who will want to live there in Kileleshwa. So yeah,
I
but we
thought.
wait and see
Sorry, I thought
the
well,
type
the
of
Tok
finish.
Road is good. Um, I I guess I could see the traffic, but it also is
There's
convenient to just
always
get
traffic.
out there. It'll be loud though, maybe.
Yes, there will be also lots of noise, traffic, but it usually clears up at night around 8 thereabout. It clears up, so they could beat the traffic. But then again, for me, that's the main concern. In terms of pricing, it's very fairly priced. The location is perfect. The units are also decently sized. So everything seems to work for them. Now we have to see, because also their previous projects are not the best.
Mhm.
So we have to see if they're going to do any different with their two projects, the two Berkeley project, in terms of finishing. In terms
Yeah,
of
I'm just
pricing,
assuming the
location,
finishing's gonna be not the best. No,
yeah,
but I
because
feel like they're priced appropriately though.
yes, they are priced appropriately, but also they should try and really up their game in terms of finishing, because it's not the best, and they're also doing lots of projects at the same time. So
Mhm.
they're trying to cut on cost, I guess. They do all of them at the same time. They order the same materials. So we wait and see if it's going to be any different from the two Berkeley apartments. But as of now, the
Well,
location, the pricing, the size, it's decent.
what's your general perspective on Raptor Road side of Westlands and maybe Berkeley Residency as a development? And then there's Amto View, there's Marina Bay, there's that Alta 97. There's like a million things going on over there. Um, I've never fancied it for investment, but maybe long term. I don't know. What's your general thoughts of that section?
For
Galaxy
for
One.
Rafter Road and Sports Road, Rafter Road and Sports Road, it's designed, or historically it's designed for more long-term living.
Mhm.
It's not for investment, Airbnbs and all that. So if you're looking for, I'll say, some sort of like anchor tenants, people who are going to stay for very, very long, because a lot of local corporates, local executives, they do prefer staying along Rafter Road and Sports Road. So
Mhm.
it's more for established families, people who don't want to move a lot. They have access, maybe they work towards Nigiri side or Westlands, and they don't want to live in the chaotic, fast-paced Westland side. So in Sports Road, Rafter Road, it's for people who want to live there long term, seasoned professionals, established families. So it's a very good market for people who are targeting long term occupancy. And also, if you don't want the issue with management, Airbnbs, and all that, you could look
Would
towards
you
that direction.
would you consider Riverside or Raptor Road better in general? Because they kind of serve the same kind of purpose.
I would say Riverside.
Hmm.
Riverside, you could charge a higher premium just because it's Riverside. For Rafter Road, it will be slightly lower than Riverside. So Riverside, you could charge as much as you are allowed to charge,
Mm.
but in Rafter Road, it's conservative pricing as well. So you will charge according to what the people want to pay for it. But Riverside, because it has been marketed as a prestigious zone, very the embassies, there are very many embassies on that road. It's very green, it's very quiet. So the people who will want to continue living that kind of lifestyle, they will pay a higher premium for Riverside as compared to Raptor Road. So
Are
if you
you
want
not worried?
higher pricing,
Sorry.
Riverside.
Are you not worried
Yes.
about the traffic on the Riverside? I think I have PTSD. I got stopped there one time in the summer. It was hot. You know, the Uber don't like to put on the AC. I was
Yeah.
sweating for like 30 minutes, just not moving.
But now I don't see a solution for Riverside traffic because there's really no solution. On the other side, well, the one side is apartments, the other side is mostly embassies. So
Hmm.
there's nothing that's going to change on that other side. The embassies are not going to move or they're not going to create roads and all that.
So what are
So
we
the
gonna do
traffic
with
will
2,000 more units coming over
now that's where the zoning was supposed to be happening.
there? It
But
comes full
it's all
circle.
talk. Exactly. Because if they really paid attention to the zoning, then we won't have all these high rises happening in Riverside. Because now even the I would say the legacy owners, the people who used to live in
They
Riverside
gotta
in their
move.
own houses, yes, they're actually selling their land because they don't want to deal with all this construction and all that. And then the
Where are they
traffic is
going?
made even worse. At the moment, I'm not sure where they're going, but they're just selling the land because the construction trucks, the people moving in, the extra traffic, everything is disadvantaging them, and they really don't want to stay there.
Mm, okay. Oh, Morvara in
Over
Westlands.
Modede Road,
Mathiti, yeah, but far down, almost Parklands
yes.
or
It's a
almost CBD.
very yes, it's a very unique development by the design point of view.
Bigger square
And
meters for the price.
yes, but they do call it a serviced apartment, but it's not a serviced apartment, which
Yeah,
kind of
it's
throws me
not.
off.
Yeah.
Yes, so I really don't understand their choice of words. But then again, based off, no, they've done Amto View, their show house.
Yeah. Very
I
mid.
also, yes, I don't fancy Amto. And now Morvara, they are promising a much more better facade, finishing, amenities. But based off their previous project again, um, it's not that exciting. The outside, the renders, very exciting. They look very nice, but I'm not really excited. I really don't see the market for it
Really? They're not making the cut.
because, yes, if they lived up to the serviced apartment name,
Yeah,
it
they're not
would have
doing
made sense. But now they're not doing it. They're just building it and then leave after 6 months.
that. So they don't
So
make
it's the
your
same
Westlands
cycle over
list,
and over again. Not at the moment.
even though
The
the
location
price.
itself, the price is nice, but the location is a bit further down from Westlands. So
Mm,
if you're marketing it as Westlands, people have to travel back up to Westlands to really be in Westlands. So it's a bit disadvantage on the location.
do you foresee Kilauea attracting the same level of high-rise developments in the future that Westlands is currently experiencing? Black Jedi member, thank you.
Yes. Kilelesha is already attracting because
Mm.
we haven't talked about Ivy Mist, but Ivy Mist is
Oh yeah.
also it's a very huge development coming up, 413 units,
Okay, let's
which
talk
I would
about
say it's
Ivy
the
Mist.
most dense at the moment. Yes, Ivy Mist, 413 units, a lot of units, and they're doing kind of different in terms of their marketing and sales.
Ah,
Yeah. So it's a very, how do I say it? It's unique.
sales strategy?
Yes, their
But they
marketing
give
and
you,
sales strategy.
see, they killed me when they put this.
Mhm.
So this is the Ivy group, but so it's funny. Am I frozen? Oh, I was frozen. They um they reached Kareem reached out to me and was I don't where'd they get my information from? And they were trying to sell this and I was like, "What?" And I was like, "Send me the info." But I didn't know Kareem was selling, but apparently now they're doing an exclusive.
Yes, Kareem
That looks
exclusive.
cool. Are they going to have
So they're
fish?
doing, yes, they're doing three levels of water features on the ground floor, and then two more at the top floor.
They're
But then again,
copying
that
Belgravia.
poses, yes, and then it poses an issue where how are they going to manage it? Because for them, they are going to manage all these water features. It requires to be sealed, it requires waterproofing. So it really needs a very good property manager, as well as 413 units. There are a lot.
Mm.
So also keeping all those people in check, their amenities, making sure everybody gets a slice of the amenities is also another issue,
And they haven't
especially in
built anything
Kileleshwa.
like this. This is different.
Yes,
8M
this is
for
very different.
78 square meters, 8M. That's not too bad.
Yeah. And also they had this kind of incentive where if you book now up to the end of July, I guess next week, they will
Mm.
pay off your closing cost, 4%
Oh,
tax on the utilities. So it's another added incentive for people to book.
but they're not working with agents.
They are working with agents, but a limited amount of agents.
Are you on the
So they're
list?
trying, yes, I'm on the list.
Oh, how
Yeah,
do we get on
so
the list?
they're trying to be, as they call it, exclusive. So they're trying to be as exclusive as possible. So
He
they'll
said
only be
Ivy
working.
looks like it's marketed towards single mothers from abroad. What? What?
It's a nice concept, but for me, I feel like there are too many units to be able to properly manage the amenities.
Mm.
Kileleshwa is also not known for having such dense apartments, 413 people living in one area. So it's something very unique in that sense for Kileleshwa. And for now, we wait and see. They haven't released much to the public yet,
Yeah.
but we wait and see how they're going to do it. Karim is known for, well, visuals.
Yeah, they
So
have good
he's
visuals. They're the best at that.
so I'm guessing he's going to be involved in the entire process now, not just the visual process. Also now the layouts,
They're
the
gonna mess it
finishing.
up. What the heck does
He
making the
waits.
renders have to do with the sales department?
I feel like maybe he got lots of inquiries from other renders. Do you sell this? Are you selling this? And then he decided to now pick it up for himself to now do the renders and sell as well.
Why is everyone so high up on Westlands versus the other greener, more suburban locations? Everyone, the baddies told me avoid Kilimani due to Somali Nigerians, yet I found Kilimani really okay. I like Kilimani. The reason why for Westlands is I think you get more capital appreciation, meaning the value of your property would go up faster. There's also more fluid demand, I think, for the rentals if you're going for Airbnb. But if you just want a chill investment, I think Kilauea, Kilimani, Lavington are good. Thoughts?
Um, for me, okay, it's a preference choice. I feel like you have to experience all these neighborhoods
Hmm.
for you to find which one reflects of you, because you don't just go off what people are saying. Because also in Westlands is quite big. There's the Pandora side. There's also now the Mutiti Road, the Westlands Road. So it's different dynamics. So you have to find which side like you like the most. Also, Kilimani is quite big. Where Amethyst was trying to build is also
Way
part of
different.
Kilimani, but
Yeah.
it's a way different from Ivy Park, from Star Route. Everything is different. So you have to really experience this and see which one you
Yeah, I
relate with.
try to tell people don't just say I want to buy in Westlands just because you watch videos because there's different parts and there's a lot going on. Because when people fly in from country, like when they fly in and we take them around, their perspective changes a lot depending on seeing the areas because they'll have one idea in their mind. But even Kilimani has a reputation, but the reputation is from like the Star Route area in the middle of everything, and it's a lot different when you're on the edges, um, well, where Alina is, but even better, Luna Oak and Only You. That area is really nice with all the schools over there. I really like it. And then Westlands, Raptor Road, Lower Westlands, Upper Westlands, Brookside. Oh, also, you like Oak Rise, but the prices there are high. Diplomat was doing a studio at 5M. The studio at Oak Rise is what, 7? Woo! And
Yes,
they're saying
you're also
prices
paying
are
for the
down.
location.
Diplomat's better location, I think.
Yeah, Diplomat is a very, very prime location. It's literally walking distance to
So
everything
you
in Westland.
pay more for less. Good luck. See what happens when you wait. Okay. Any other thoughts, current events, things going on in the market people should know about before I let you go?
I think we've covered a bit much. I don't feel like there's anything I've left out. Well, it's the oversupply thing, the talks of apartment prices going down, but I haven't seen it. I haven't seen apartment pricing going down, so I really don't understand where they collect all this information from. So that's
I
the
don't see. I see higher prices.
exactly. So for me, I really don't see the lower prices. I've really tried to collect my own data and I don't see it. So I'm really trying to figure out who is giving them this information and where they're getting it from.
I
And
think.
that's basically the talk in real estate about the apartment prices going down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I don't
but I
like
haven't
that
seen
these other agents are just feeding the narrative, and I don't think I just feel like they're just repeating the thing to get a lot of views because right now it gets a lot of views to talk about those things in a very basic way. Oh, there's too many buildings. Oh
it. Yeah,
no.
yeah, and all of them they go to Westlands Road and then they just point out, you see this building, you see this building. It's the same narrative over and over again. So it doesn't make sense to me without the opposing data of now demand actually being less rather than just talking about oversupply. Show us the data on the demand being less so that we can actually compare the two and now make a conclusive judgment on that.
Yeah. All right, last question. Last question. Off plan or wait until the project is completed? Would I get a better deal? Off plan, the earliest possible, you'll get a much better deal.
Once the project is completed, it's usually already appreciated in value. So you will pay an extra than what you would have paid for off plan. And then off plan, you get selectability. You can select a favorable unit depending on your taste and what you're able to see. But then again, I also get the point of um, buying a completed unit because now you do understand what you're getting. You've already seen the finishing, you've already seen what's around the area, if there's any building coming up or construction starting, which you normally won't see with off plan. Because sometimes off plan you may buy it, there's nothing happening around, but other developers get wind of the location and everybody is there. And then
Right.
everything starts coming up. Yeah. So there's still advantages to doing either.
Do you do a lot of resales? Are these units reselling for these type of prices? Because I see a lot of people try to resell them for a lot more money, but does that actually happen?
I would say previously it used to happen, but now more and more people want to buy off plan. So if they do miss off plan on this, they'll go to the next one. So I'll use the example of maybe Luminara and Belgravia. So once they come in and they don't find a unit, they won't want a resale. They will go to the next off plan, which is
Hmm.
Belgravia. So they will naturally go to the next off plan. So more and more investors are going towards off plan and not resale.
Okay. This is a member. I have to let them get in. So, Oscar, what does the average middle class Nairobi resident feel about this explosion in growth?
Well, I would say the best answer is in amethyst. They don't
Really?
like the growth.
They hate it.
They hate it. They want to maintain their middle class stature, and so they will do everything to protect it. So once you're coming up with a high-rise building where more and more people will be able to access their living spaces, share the same amenities, social amenities like schools, um, malls, and all this, they don't want that because it's going to now overprice it for them. Because once more and more people who can afford living in these apartments come in and they're taking their children to these, let's say, ultra luxury schools or high end schools, now the price will be too high for the middle class to actually afford it. So they really don't want people coming in mass living where they live. So for them, the explosion in growth is not welcome. And the people who are doing it best are Lavington and some parts of Kileleshwa. They really don't like the apartments coming up.
Um, you know what's funny about that? In my town, where I'm on the zoning board, any project that comes up, people come complain about it. I think this is just what happens. The people that own stuff don't want new people to come and build things. I really think that's just how that is.
Yeah,
Like
because they
it
want
won't
to
even
live
affect
the
their
same life.
thing, and they come and it's gonna make traffic and like it's really I like all these arguments. I've heard all this before, whether it's Kenya or in my suburban town in the U.S. So, are you frozen? He's just stoic. Is he stoic? He's frozen. You can't tell. Well, I do want to say bye before we get out of here. In the meantime, while he's frozen, um, oh, I think he's coming back. Hey, use the Almasi website, guys. I've updated it quite a bit. The search works now. You can type things. Boom. You can also filter. Oh, you could filter by lots of categories. Um, it's really good. And you can do the maps. So if you're coming to Kenya, I suggest you guys look at the map search if you're thinking about real estate, and you can actually get a good idea about what's going on in the market because we have a map and you can see all the listings are here. You can click them. You can know where they are in reference to each other. You can see what parts of Westlands things are in and all of that. And the map updates as you're scrolling around, so you'll just see, look, do you want to be near Oyster Bay? Because Luna Oak is right across the street. Um, but yeah, so we're trying to build some tools to make things easier. Um, I'll give you a sneak peek of we're doing a lot of data collection. Some of the information is not correct, but the Almasi Insider we're building out. We're tracking the sales rates. Um, we'll be tracking vacancy with rentals. We can tell you over different spans of time. Yes, we have a currency conversion now. So you can know, you can look at the stuff in dollars. We have a median asking price per square meter from the different developments and their sales rate, how fast they're selling. And you can compare them to each other. And then here again, price per square meter by neighborhood so that you know what your ranges look like. The data's still populating, so we haven't released it yet. We need a couple more weeks of building up the data, but right now we're looking at 6,000 units, and there's 40 total projects. We'll be adding way more units that we're tracking. You can see the market in a couple different ways. You can see who's selling the most, the highest absorption rate based off of their inventory that they have, what has high availability, how much, what percentage of all the projects are sold. But see, Belgravia is already 25% sold, and they just announced Luminar 64%, Hefe Palace. So you can really do a lot of analysis. We're adding more properties as we go. It's not set up yet. Some of the data still has to populate. You can learn about different neighborhoods. Like if I click Brookside, it's going to show the different projects, how fast they're selling. We're still adding more things, so don't judge the look of it yet. We can compare all the projects. We can expand it out. We could see each unit's reservation, how fast each type of unit's selling. In the future, we'll be able to know, are one bedrooms in Westlands selling faster than two bedrooms? All this kind of information we're collecting and figuring out, price per square meter and all that, to be able to compare projects more smartly, more intelligently. We have a comparison tool so you can put different projects to each other. So if we're looking at Belgravia, and we could look at Luminar versus Diplomat, and then we could see different situations going on. I know it's a little small, sorry. Um, but there's a lot of data that we're collecting, and we're trying to put it in the most best way possible. We'll be doing some reporting on quarters based off of this information, and then we have the handwritten reports. Obviously, AI helps us like with the language, but we give. So this is the Belgravia project, how much it's sold, what we're rating it, 9.5 for Belgravia. Um, Again, all the stats that you can dive into, and then we have a full report which we're writing, which goes into like what sides of the building you should be buying, what could be blocked, who is this for, what's our overall rating, the pros and the cons, different use cases, what we think, the rental demand, what we think the quality, investment potential. We do some comps on Airbnb, so we're actually looking at Airbnb listings and looking at what they're renting for. Obviously, these are just asking prices, but we're trying to, give you guys some numbers to work with and calculating our own ROI. Again, we're still collecting data, so this stuff is all going to change. We give you developer history. We look at all the due diligence, and then we give some risks, what we think are some of the downsides or risks, or because buying in Kenya in general is going to be somewhat risky. So we want you guys to know what our considerations of things that could not be good, and we give you a final verdict and stuff. So that's going to be the Almasi Insider that we're working on in the data arm of the company. And there's a little bit of a preview. We're still working on it, though. It's going to take a while. Oh, Oscar's back.
Yeah.
Yes, I've added currency conversion.
Yes, I've actually seen all that you've done. It's actually very impressive. It's
Thank you.
nice.
Thank you. Shout out
I
to
have to go
the
through it.
AI helping. Yeah, the information.
I've,
So the underlying thing though is you have to collect the data properly, and we need more data over time to be able to make the comparisons. So right now it doesn't exactly work like fully because we need a couple months of data before some of the metrics can populate correctly. And then we have to be able to get the data from the developers, and then they submit that in different ways with their availability. So it's a fun challenge, but I'm tired of people saying there's too much supply without having any numbers. So we're going to put numbers behind it, because then we'll know if units sell slower. We'll know, and we'll be able to say as much. Oh no, he's frozen again.
I don't know why I keep on
Oh, okay.
freezing.
It's Safaricom. Okay, but that's all I got. I think this was really good. You've won over people. Look, everyone's an Oscar fan now. There are good people and agents, you know, just not that many. So that's why Oscar's on here, because he's a good guy and is honest. So Passport Bro Investor, thanks for participating. Everybody else as well. Chew Fry, good questions. I hope we answered them well. Eddie, Atticus, I swear you look familiar, man. Do you have a YouTube channel you post? I feel like I've seen your content or something. Oh, we're losing Oscar. I just wanted to close out. I hope you guys got value from that. I always forget to say like and subscribe and share and send us super chats. Gosh, you know, I appreciate a super chat. You know, it's all good. I mean it, but yeah, good stuff. MH, thanks for being around. Member, long-term member. Dang, I'll have to call Oscar because I'm Nime Maliza. I haven't been practicing my Swahili that much. But guys, I know words. Okay? I do know words. But I feel like we've redeemed ourselves. Last week was kind of bad because of the audio. We'll do better. But yeah, thanks guys. See you. Thank you, Oscar. I think he provided a ton of value, made the show so much better. And see you guys later. Thanks. Bye.